that it showed up.
Man, I'm really glad that my firework didn't happen at
Oh, that would have been really
time.
awkward.
At the time of the collapse. Could you imagine that? Is there a reason?
Well, not at the same time.
Is there a reason there's fireworks going on over there?
It's almost Government Explosion Day.
Sounds ominous.
Don't you know about Bonfire Night?
V for Vendetta.
Remember the 5th of November. Is that?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's like a celebrated thing.
Kind of.
I don't know. Sort of. It's not like, whoa!
We just do some fireworks.
Treason!
We have a bonfire. We
throw a man on it.
Yeah, throw a man on the fire. Eat
Not a
caramel
real man.
toffee apples.
Ooh, I like that.
Usually, when my family used to do bonfire night stuff, we'd have at least a fireworks disaster per year. So it'd be I don't know if you've got them in America. They're called Catherine wheels here. They're round fireworks that you nail to a fence or whatever.
Yeah.
And it spins. We've had multiples of those fly off the wall and chase people, and Roman candles falling over, and one year we had 2 drunk men who decided we'll take 2 rockets together. That'll be really cool, and only had the chance to light one of them before one of them took off, and it skimmed over the fence and hit someone's back door, and 2 fireworks went off.
Hell yeah!
I mean, we obviously had Catherine wheels. I feel like Catherine wheels are not actually designed to remain attached to anything. But the last time we did actual fireworks rather than the little patio stuff, which is the we had a rocket and a gust of wind happened just as it was about to launch, so it just went straight down the garden towards the fish pond.
Oh gosh.
And just exploded at the end of the garden. And then we decided we're not going to have those fireworks anymore.
Warfare.
So it's like our 4th of July, apart from we sort of celebrate some guy who tried to blow up Parliament.
The more every year I think about how it doesn't make sense as a thing.
I assume we're celebrating the fact that he didn't blow up Parliament
by blowing stuff up.
Yeah, because we throw a guy on the bonfire.
Yeah. Oh, you were serious about the guy in the bonfire?
Yeah, I mean it's just a couple of pillowcases full of leaves made to look like
an effigy. It's not a real person.
Yeah. Although they haven't done that for a while anywhere I've seen.
No,
Penny for the guy is not a thing anymore. Basically, people would make the effigy, put it in a wheelbarrow, and go around the streets, be like, "Penny for the guy," and you'd give some money.
It's a weird holiday.
It is.
It's my favourite of the year, but it's weird.
Epcot celebrated it one year. That year we went, 2013.
Yeah, because we went on the 5th of November.
And
because I wanted to see some fireworks, because I wasn't in the UK, and where else was I going to see fireworks but at Disney, so...
And the Britain section, or the England section, had a massive mural on the floor in chalk, and be like, "Hey, it's the 5th of November, come and celebrate with us at 7 p.m.
I think I actually have a photo of that somewhere.
It's pretty cool.
And
unexpected.
Are we starting the episode off by talking about Bonfire Night to maybe contextualise the explosions that are probably going to be going on for a while?
Warning.
I feel like we do regularly. every time that it must have, if it wasn't New Year's or bonfire, it might have been a previous bonfire. It was New Year's or December. Basically, any time from the 5th of October through till the end of January. I just have fireworks. I don't know about you.
Fireworks and motorcycles.
Yeah, I've got the motorbikes all of the year.
Are they powered by fireworks? It's like a Duke Kaboom type stunt guy. Fireworks coming off.
Duke. Is that a real person, Duke Kaboom?
Have you not seen Toy Story 4?
No.
Oh,
yeah,
Duke Kaboom is Keanu Reeves' guy.
Oh, yeah, I'm so behind
Canadian
on
stunt
movies. It's a bummer.
I might try and see Joker next week.
If it's still in
theaters.
I want to see Joker.
Why don't we go see it together, Bill?
Let's go. Let's go see Joker, dude.
you coming to me or am I going to you?
I'll come over.
Okay, cool.
We'll meet up.
See you next week.
Go see Joker.
I feel so left out.
I mean, do you want to see the Joker?
No.
Well then,
I want to go to
And we
cinema.
can-
It's expensive.
we can
Get
go
a
in our
bite to eat.
walrus car, Bill.
Yeah.
Shut up! It was a weird dream.
Well, see, that wasn't a dream.
If you
It was a
show up in a
premonition.
walrus, I'm going to be really upset.
Walrus car. What did it look like?
Like, was it a walrus that we were driving, or was
I
it like a
don't think it
cartoon, like
actually looked
a
like a-
Dodgem type thing? That
This is
had
what
a
I'm
walrus?
Is this going to be in the
imagining.
episode? Because I feel like I should contextualize this.
No,
Nah,
I mean,
probably
with
not.
no
Okay.
context.
No context.
Okay.
This is what I imagine it to look like. It's not a walrus, but I imagine this style from the movie Dumb and Dumber.
It's really hard to explain because I don't think it was actually a walrus. It was like a weird dream.
A dream version of a walrus.
Yeah,
That you were like,
kind of like
I don't know what that is, but I think it's a walrus.
Yeah, a
Or
walrus
I
is the
dream it as a
closest I
walrus.
could describe it.
Okay.
But I don't know. You got in this walrus car and drove off, and then people started like beating my house up because they were mad that
They
you stole
also-
their idea for the walrus car or something. I don't know.
Walrus car is trademark of the
That's-
Permadeath podcast.
That's like symbolic for something that's going to happen with Permadeath. Like,
Let me just dream dictionary.
Dream dictionary
Yeah.
walrus.
now, if you have that dream recurring, then like
Premonition, right?
your brain's
Is
trying to
that-
tell you
Yeah.
something. Yeah, like I have the dream where I'm in college and I missed like 6 months of classes, and then I'm going to class and I haven't been to one, and I'm freaking out because there's a test. I have that dream regularly, and then I Googled it, and then I find out my dad has that dream, my cousin has that dream, and millions of people also have that dream all the time. It just means you're stressed.
It's just a standard stress
Wait,
dream.
what was the dream?
That you haven't been to a college course in like 6 months, and you
Suddenly you have a
realize
test for it.
that you have a test for it, and you're in class for the first time in months, and you're freaking
Oh.
out.
That just
yeah.
sounds like my university experience to me. The walrus is associated with wisdom, belligerence, humor, and awkward feelings or self-awareness. If you dream of a walrus, it indicates that you are protecting something or someone, and that you are the dominant member of a partnership or leader in a situation. So I'm
mean,
the
that makes
leader of
sense.
Permadeath, according
See
to
that?
my dream.
Yeah.
And I'm stressed.
And we're living in the walrus, so Bill and I are like the belligerent, humorous people. And you're the one reining us in. That makes sense.
I mean, that does make sense, yeah.
It's
anyway.
amazing. It's amazing how
accurate it is.
it's incredible.
Sometimes I forget that dream dictionaries are bollocks.
They're legit.
Well, I think that sounded quite good. I exude
they're
leadership qualities.
That's true. I mean, they're like horoscopes. They're
yeah.
typically
Yeah.
like vague enough that you're like, oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, some of them I feel like are obvious, like the college thing, or
Yeah.
when all
Yeah.
your teeth are falling out in your dream, or...
Yeah,
The college thing, as far as I
that
know,
means you need to drink more milk.
Your brain just kind of creates that scenario if your brain is stressed, because that's the
Yeah.
easiest thing for it to latch onto as like, this guy's been
It's
to college
stressful
and
thing.
he's stressed as fuck, and like this will stress him out. Like throw it in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get him.
Do you ever have dreams about video games? I know this
Yeah.
sounds like I'm trying to segue us back onto things, but
Yeah.
for real.
I always do.
I've never had a video game dream.
I constantly have dreams where they announce new characters that are coming into Fire Emblem Heroes.
Oh, that's
That's unfortunate.
they got you. They got your wallet even in your dreams.
Yeah, they really do. Because I wake up
mean-
like, oh my god, that's so cool, I can't wait for that, and then I'll like check my phone and it never happened.
I dreamt
I
about
guess I
Animal
must
Crossing a few
have
weeks ago.
some element of game dreams because, well, maybe not game dreams, but just general misinformation dreams.
Yeah.
Because I had that moment when we were talking about Sword and Shield where I'm like, maybe I did make up the Manchester thing, but it'd be a weird thing for me to have made up, so I must have dreamt it.
Yeah.
But I don't have game dreams that I remember
Yeah. I can't
the
quite.
next morning of being like, oh, that was an interesting dream.
Yeah, I can't
It's
quite
just information
remember
that sticks.
like exactly what was going on in the Animal Crossing dream. Just that I had it, and And that was it.
Well, the thing is, come March, you'll have an Animal Crossing dream because you'll be playing it non-stop all the time. So you'll just be dreaming what you were doing in the day.
Can't wait.
And then there'll be the unfortunate group of people who are like, I really want to play Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing. I'm going to split my time equally, and it's going to be
those dreams.
No pun intended. Hell.
Those dreams are going to be interesting. Trapped on an
That
island
guy
with
makes
demons.
it into Animal Crossing.
Well, there's a fair few, because the date got changed. There's a fair few pictures of
some
Doom
good
guy teaching Isabel to use a gun.
Yeah, some good memes out there. Welcome everyone to Permadeath Podcast.
Woo! It's been a while.
What episode number? I'm looking it up. Fuck.
Oh.
46 is my guess.
46 is Skin
49.
Ross's guess. Ebby's guess.
49.
49. It is episode. Well, you're both wrong. 52.
Wait, what? When did we hit 50?
It's for episode 46. Ken Ross
We
is
didn't
correct.
Oh, it is actually 46. Because I was about to say, yeah, now that you mention it, I think we did mention that we were episode 50.
See what you can do, people's brains, man.
We should have hit episode 50 this year, but we didn't.
we would have. We would have.
Yeah, we would have.
We would have, but
This
we
would have been.
didn't.
This would have been episode 50 because episode 45 was 5 months ago.
Yeah?
We would have done it.
We messed up.
Oh, well. Oh, well. Quick, we'll
Next year.
podcast every week until we hit 50.
I want to
in time for New
know
Year's.
out there, everyone listening to this episode, leave us a comment on YouTube or hit us up on Twitter at Perma Podcast. Leave us an email if you want. Let us know, what are your celebration plans for episode 50? What are you going to do about it? You're going to get chips? You know, you're going to hang out with
I know
gonna,
what I'm going to do.
parents? Like, what are you going
Are
to
you
do?
going to finally give away those cookies from episode 1?
No.
Oh. I was
Gross.
asking Bill. Bill still probably doesn't even remember.
Oh,
that
me?
everyone a
Oh,
cookie.
I don't know
Yeah.
shit. From the very, very first episode of Perma?
Yeah, at the end of the first episode, you were like, hey, if you made it this far, you can have a cookie.
Ooh. Okay,
So,
I would get a gold-plated cookie made. People can enter the contest. Now, your prize won't just be my extra Humble Monthly scraps. Your prize could be a gold-plated cookie.
oh, yeah, Kiwami's in the Humble Bundle.
Yep, going to a lucky
Humble monthly.
listener in the Discord. See what happens if you become friends with us. I give you games. So come in the Discord.
I don't think I've ever received a game from Bill.
I think I'm gonna
Nope, that's a lie.
cosplay-
That's a lie. I've had Nuclear Throne from Bill.
I think
That's-
I'm
I've
either
never
going to
played it.
cosplay as Kinross or Bill for the 50th episode.
Yeah.
Oh, that we should all dress up as each other.
I'll cosplay as Yokohama.
Where you're just like invisible.
Bring it back.
Sorry, Yoku. You're definitely
Love
not
you,
listening
buddy.
to this, but
No
sorry.
way. This is how we found out he's our only listener. Oh man, yeah. It's funny to think about. Like, let's see. Podcast came out 5 years ago that we're about to hit 50.
It's an average of 10 a year. That's not bad.
Hey, it's like a season of a show. You know what I mean? You get what you get.
We're just not as consistent as like anything else on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a good run. It's just that life happened to all of us in a,
I tried
in a
with weekly.
domino effect.
I'm very not proud of the weekly absence, but I'll get back on that horse.
Before we go too far,
Yeah.
I do actually have a sponsor for
Housekeeping.
this episode. No, I've got a sponsor, not housekeeping.
Wait, when am I getting paid?
Yeah, I didn't hear about this. Kid must have been hoarding the money.
I mean, we're not getting paid yet because we've not done the read. Let me just find it. Sorry, you can talk amongst yourselves for a bit. But
what are you gonna do with your sponsorship money? Abby, what are you gonna do with your sponsorship money? This is the first time we've ever gotten paid for doing this show.
How much money do you think it is? Because
I don't know.
I can confirm it has at least a 0.
okay,
'Cause I still haven't seen the
I
money.
think I
you
might go
bought
to
from-
McDonald's and get a veggie deluxe.
All right, you're expecting too many zeros. Okay.
Because I still haven't gotten paid from Volantis yet. I don't know.
Have you been paid by Epic Guy yet? Todd Sweeney, Paul Sweeney,
I mean,
Jake Sweeney.
I was trying to deal down, but he's been ringing my line like nonstop. He even got my Google Voice number. That guy's relentless. He's a businessman already.
Okay, so Permadeath podcast. There you go.
What?
It's a Oh god, it won't stop.
I don't know what it is.
Kid Ross, I love you, buddy.
It's a crappy Outer Worlds reference.
Oh.
One of the companies is called Space's Choice.
Every time I laugh,
you
I
buy
cough.
from it. Every time you buy from one of their vending machines and you leave, it's like, it's not the best choice. It's Space's Choice.
So, am I not getting my Veggie Deluxe?
I mean, I wasn't lying when I said there's at least one 0. Unfortunately, the 0 is the only number.
Yeah, but now I really want a Veggie Deluxe, and I feel let down. So
I'm sorry.
Next
Time you visit, I will apologise with 2 Veggie Deluxes.
I don't want 2. That's too many.
Well,
Just a Veggie Deluxe meal, large, full fat Coke. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Chips.
big old.
Thank you. Thank you to Kid Ross. What are they called?
Space's Choice.
Is that what the company's called in the game? I
Yes.
forget. Because there's so
Space's
many,
Choice.
dude. There's so effing many factions.
Space's Choice is part of the Halcyon Holdings.
That's the word I was looking for. Halcyon. 'Cause then there's them. There's Sublight. There's fucking
Anti-Cleos,
Iconoclast.
Rizzos. Whoa! It's Rizzo's. I don't like that one because it doesn't fit any sort of rhythm.
There's so many, which I like, but the names escape me unless I have the game in front of me. So yeah, welcome everybody to the Permadeath Podcast. This is where we talk about video games that we've been playing.
20 minutes into recording.
We've been absent a long time. We can't possibly talk about every single game we've played in the last 5 months, but we can nail the hammer nail. We can hammer the nail on all.
Nail
on
the
most
hammer.
of them.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah, baby.
Ebby did point out we've actually also not done our E3 wrap up. So let's
wrote
get
so
that
many
out.
notes for that wrap-up episode, and we never did it. Like every time, because me and Kinross watched it basically all together. And I'm like, oh, gotta make my notes, and he'd be like, how many notes are you making, Ebby? And I'd be like, oh,
all of them.
All of the notes.
I missed that one. Did you get that? And I was like, yeah.
I honestly forgot about E3 entirely.
E3 was not great this year, to be fair.
I think that it was a mix of stuff was happening, and E3 was kind of So
and
we
then,
were like, screw it, we can't be us.
We did
There's
our
no point.
reaction to the Nintendo Direct, which, to be honest, I think that was the only thing that was worth.
That was
doing
probably
a
the
reaction
biggest.
to.
That was probably the stuff that had the
But even
announcements we cared the most about, that we knew were going to be there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
for me, the biggest thing from E3 that I really wanted to see was Animal Crossing, and we saw it. And like Sony didn't really did nothing, and
Anything? No.
Microsoft had Game Pass PC, which is about the most exciting thing for me, and like still didn't show Halo gameplay. So it was like a lot of it. This year, like, obviously, waiting for next
placeholder
gen.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, next E3 is going to be a baller year. I hope.
Are you going to visit for next E3?
I would like to do something like that.
You know, big
Start a new
2020
gen?
trip.
When's
When's the 10-year anniversary of Permadeath? Because I feel like it might be soon.
5 more years?
Oh.
Let me get the exact date for you. Hold on.
Is this the 5-year anniversary year?
It'll be January 17th, 2024.
That's just after my birthday. So...
And actually,
so we're about to start the 6th year.
Yeah, the 5-year anniversary was back in January. We somehow missed that. Man, look at all the comments on the first episode of Permadeath.
How many are there? Like 3?
50.
Yeah,
50?
Yeah, almost as many as we have episodes.
70 likes. How about that?
Oh man, people
Our
really liked it back in the
viewership fell
day.
off very
Look at
quickly.
these comments. Let's see. Are there any recent comments? People going back, living their reliving their memories of their
I
favorite.
feel like we should
I'm
save
so
this for
nostalgic
50.
for episode 1 where we recorded it over Skype and no one sounded good. And
We sounded bad for like 30 episodes.
It sounded bad until I said I am fed up of using this jank Skype OBS.
yeah, I think the thing that
crap.
did it was when Bill was clicking the coin.
Yeah, that really pissed me off as well.
Coin.
You know what? Episode 50, it's just going to be a clip show.
There we go.
Oh, God.
Should we
With
talk
hit
about-
moments such as coin, 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 and seagulls. Do you have birds?
It's just all gonna be Bill. Like, it's just gonna be Bill and people laughing in the background.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Let's see here. It's funny to scroll through. Sorry, everyone listening to this want to hear about video games, but it's funny to scroll through the YouTube channel and look at the different thumbnails. There's the
It's like 5 different styles.
It's so inconsistently bad.
I tried.
Look at this.
Yeah, so did I. And then Bill was like, "No, we're going to try this one." I'm like, "Okay."
Oh, shit. Oh.
I've got to search it now.
Well, we've got the one that's like Pallet Town.
Alan,
Yeah.
One that's
to be fair, Alan made that one.
we got
didn't.
the black background with 4 hearts. It just says Permadeath Podcast.
Oh, boy.
We had the grey background with the.
The grey period was my least favourite time of Permadeath.
Look at that. And that's the
And then
period
we
with
have
the
and then
least-
we have the one that's Super Mario World style.
the gray period has the
current
least
one.
amount of episodes.
Good.
I feel like either the current era or black background with red hearts had the most.
Yeah.
I don't think that the Alan one lasted particularly long.
I like the
Probably 'cause-
current idea of putting a picture of whatever the biggest game we've talked about in the episode is.
Oh, I thought that was a weekly thing.
Oh no, we did it for
No,
episode
Red Dead
45.
Redemption.
Yeah.
Oh, we did change it up. Okay, we're into a new era.
Yeah. That's kind of like getting with the times, I feel, of like YouTube algorithms. I don't know anything about that, but
Yeah.
like
Show
Not
people
just
what we're
banging
actually
up a
talking
podcast
about.
and going, oh, whatever the default image, that'll do.
Alright, don't reveal the secret.
I was also thinking
Calling
about
everyone out.
I was
Every
also
single
thinking
one of
about
you.
episode titling episodes going forward.
Oh yeah, we keep changing our mind as to that.
Yeah, I want to
Whether
do
we're
it.
gonna be
I want to do it. Even if we
so
just
we're never going to have an episode 50.
even if the episode title is like just like 2 or 3 of the games that are in the episode, rather than me trying to come up with puns for weekly.
Oh, for weekly. Yeah, your pun game has been variable.
It's bad, dude. It's fucking bad, man. It's
Some of them have been pretty good. And then some of them, like, you are desperately trying to think of something. And it's not even a pun.
I spend more time trying to think. The one episode is just called Build. It's about Minecraft. Anyway, what games have we been playing?
Should we start with something that all of us have played?
Destiny. That was a joke. Heavy.
It's too early for Heavy to have a break.
I'm going. Bye. I think the only thing that we've all played is
Judgment.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is a weird one because it came
Yakuza franchise.
out in June. None of us played it at June.
And
I
might
played it
have
in
started
June. I
Thankfully,
didn't finish it in
Abby
June.
started it, and then we all finished it.
Yeah, I
and
played it for an
started and
hour
finished
when it came
within a
out,
month.
and then I'm like, I should go back and play the other games first, huh? And then I did that for the last 5
Yeah.
months, and then I beat Judgment in like a week. So it's like,
I feel like your only hump in that like catching up with Yakuza was Yakuza 5.
yeah,
Yeah.
that game burnt me the fuck out. Like, beat the shit out of me for a very long time. I stopped playing it for weeks. Yakuza 4 I beat in like a few days. Yakuza 5 really, like, big roadblock. Game's a little too big. The longest Yakuza game I've ever played. And I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm glad they didn't do that with 6, and I'm glad they didn't do that with Judgment. I feel like they learn lessons, I feel, from Yakuza 5, where it's like, we that was our most ambitious game. It probably still is their most ambitious game from a content standpoint. Lots of stuff in
But
there.
realized don't need to do that ever
But
again.
it's like, that's just too much work. Like 5 characters, each with their own subplot, not just like sub stories, but each with their own unique subplot with a different mechanic tied to it. Hunting, music, taxi driving. It's like, this is too much stuff. It's cool, it's funny, but like, as somebody who wants to just play Yakuza 6 is a lot of shit.
Do you reckon? Because I don't know anything. My Yakuza knowledge is only since 0. Was the studio in a position where they were about to be shut down, and they're like, "Screw it, we're gonna get as much out." Like, having played 5, does 5 end in a way that you're like, okay, that could be the last game
No.
that they ever make?
No, the
No?
end of 5 is no. It's funny. It's funny because I want to try not to spoil as much as I can. But to answer your question, like, the beginning of 6 is the end of 5. So like it's
okay.
It's very clearly that they planned a sequel. And if they hadn't planned a sequel, it'd be the worst ending of all time. Because it really doesn't really end. In a way that it's like, wow, what a great game. It almost has like a Shenmue ending where it's like, wow, imagine if this didn't get picked up again. They got kickstarted.
Soon, though.
But yeah, it was
okay. Fair enough.
Yeah,
so it's just randomly ambitious.
That's
for
actually
the sake of ambitious.
yeah, that's actually kind of a something I didn't think about really, because like I had 6 just to play right away. Is like if I had played that when it came out, that ending would have really disappointed me from a standpoint of most Yakuza games bookend themselves pretty well, and the main story ends, and that's that. Because most stories in Yakuza games, like most of their central plots are self-contained, while the characters move on. That would have really pissed me off if I had beaten that game in a vacuum of there's no Yakuza game for 5 years now. This is bad. Hey everybody, we had a cut.
That was a solid 10 seconds of you going, how do we do this? Oh my god. Hey!
We had a cut. Things
did
were happening.
We though? Did I cut? Yeah, I did.
Judgment. We're talking about Judgment.
Well, you were saying whether Yakuza 5 was a satisfying
Yakuza
ending.
5 had a bad ending. If
Luckily,
you look at it
you
on
got
its
to
own.
jump straight into 6, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful to do that. And that's what made me
to
jump
go
right
from
into 6.
PS3 old engine
Yeah.
into your first time with... No, not your first time, because you played Kiwami 2.
Yeah.
But, full-on Dragon engine.
It's funny, the whiplash. I think about it now. It's funny, the engine whiplash that newcomers will have playing through 0, the collection, or playing through 0, Kiwami 2, the collection, back to 6. It's kind of funny to me. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, because we're not going to have the Dragon engine for the new...
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be quite... It's going to
Yeah.
look probably, like 0 did?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I actually think Yakuza 5 looks better than 0, and that came before it. So it's interesting, actually, to think about. I think 5
Well, it depends on how they do
remastered, I think, is going to look beautiful. I actually think there's a lot about 5 that, wow, they really kind of went for it with this game in a lot of ways, and, it's also its biggest flaw. But, a lot of the character models and the animations and the running and everything, I'm like, wow, they really improved a lot in this game. I actually think it's the best looking of the old engine, even though it's not the newest of the old engine. But yeah, Judgment.
The thing is, if there's if there's enough time between when I'm playing the games, I don't actually notice that I'm in a worse engine. Now that I've played Judgment, if I wait for a while and then go back to play 0, I'll be like, yeah, that's how it's supposed to look.
I mean, for me, it's. I was like, oh my! I was interested to see how it would feel, because the last one I played before jumping into the old ones was Kiwami 2, which was my first time with Dragon Engine, and then before I hopped back into 4 and 5, I started Judgment and did a bit, not a lot, but I did a bit. I'm like, oh man, this engine's beautiful, and then I went right in the 4 after I started that, and it's not as bad as it might seem initially, oh man, I gotta go back to play this outdated shit. For me, there's some things in the combat in the old games that I prefer. And then I think they really improved it. And I actually didn't like the combat as much in Kiwami 2 as much as I liked it in 6 and Judgment. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know if it was... I forget, actually, the combat in Kiwami 2. Were there fighting styles in Kiwami 2?
I don't feel like yes.
I don't think so.
I don't remember. I know there wasn't in 6. But something about 6
that
just
kind of
felt
fucked me
better.
up as well, because 0 had so many different
3
fighting
each.
styles for both characters, and then I don't remember Kiwami having any, and 6
didn't Kiwami have 2?
I think Kiwami had
a heavy and a light.
I think it had Rush and Brawler, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it had Beast Mode, which is one I used in 0 the most. Because it was fun.
Rush.
It was fun. I liked Rush.
Brawler, so.
And then I went into Beast Mode because it was fun to just as you're swinging, if you're next to objects, you'll just automatically pick them up and smash people with them. So like I would just stick to the perimeters and just spam square, and Kiryu would just pick everything up imaginable and just destroy people. And like it made random battles end in like half a second, which I'm all for in this series. Please stop fighting me, Street Thug. I have 60 million yen, and like.
But did you not hear that the Street Thugs are back and they're looking for you, and your threat level is at 100% right now? I
wonder if Yagami gagged every time you got that text message. Like,
I would have just gone home. I would have been like, yeah, see you in a bit.
So yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, I guess nowhere's safe right now. Everyone go home.
They come and go. But yeah, I guess transitioning into talking about Judgment, it's been a funny journey because I kind of played all these things like back to back recently, and figuring out which, like just experiencing it in such a whiplashy way, and then ending it on Judgment, which is their newest one from 6. Which actually, the more I think about it, a quick aside, I didn't play Yakuza 6 before I played Judgment, and when I started Judgment, I'm like, man, look at this shit, the fucking cool ass smartphone UI. They literally just kind of copy and pasted a lot of the UI from 6.
The biggest worry I had was that you were going to go to where like Little Asia was and see that like fucking nothing was there, and you were going to be like, what happened
there
here?
Are a couple of spoilers in Kamurocho for 6.
Yeah, that's why I stopped. I'm like, you know what, like it doesn't feel right experiencing this era of Kamurocho through Yagami before Kiryu, so I put the detective case
because really,
on
as going through 0, 1, 2, 6 and Judgment, the only other thing that's happened to Kamurocho is the empty plot turning into the Millennium Tower.
Yeah.
That is the only thing that has happened. So you'd be like, huh, why is there no massive tower here right now? That'd be about it. But
so what did you two think of the first Yakuza spin-off after... Well, I don't want to say first.
Well, other than
Dead Souls and
the
Ishin games or
the
whatever.
Samurai wins.
Those
when are they going to localize those ones? Those are the ones I want to play.
Or they just...
But the Majima equivalent looks creepy. And
make a new one
it.
in the Dragon Engine. Just make a new one in the Dragon Engine and make us all happy.
I really enjoyed it. There were a couple of bits that I feel like every single one of these games has a section or a mechanic that you're just like, I do not care for this. But the characters continue to be amazing. The sub-stories continue to be weird fun, although they seem to be slightly toned down in this one.
Sure.
Basically, if they make a Judgment 2, I'll play it.
Yeah.
I love Yagami and Kaito.
Yeah.
Kaito.
Kaito.
And I love... I can never remember his name. I keep calling him Homura. The lawyer who travels with a backpack all the time.
How did I forget him?
Hoshino? No.
Hoshino, yeah.
Hoshino. I just played the damn thing. So do all of us.
So, like, he's just this little... He just seems so nerdy, because every time he goes out, he's like, I've got the backpack.
I actually think they did a really good job with the Genda Law Office people in general. And, like, grounding the relationship still with Yagami after everything that happens. And how he's still just in there. Like, he goes there and gets work from them for his detective agency. Like, he's still, like, in a way... I mean, it goes back to his relationship with Genda, but, like, yeah... There's I don't want to spoil particular things about little moments towards the end, but there's a point towards the end that like really brought that home for me too, where they show a picture, and I'm like, man, you know, like that, like it's a familial relationship with Genda, and even the guy with the Matsugane, like it's an interesting upbringing for him. So he's an interesting character, Yagami, in a way where it's like, oh man, you know, how is it going to be playing a lawyer, ex-lawyer / detective, in a world that we spent so much time as a Yakuza in? And there's still a little bit of that in him, I feel, but like he's never been a Yakuza. So like, you know, you kind of like, they kind of like raise that question to you early on, like in a way where it's like, oh wow, how is he so good at fighting? Like what, like, you know, we learned martial arts from his father or whatever, but it's like, how I can't possibly believe that. I'm waiting for the moment where he takes his jacket off and he's got a tattoo or something like that. Like, I'm waiting for the moment where this guy's really a Yakuza. And they never really kind of do any of that in this game. I actually think the Judgment story kind of subverts some of the typical Yakuza tropes that are so present. And I've noticed them even more playing 4, 5, and 6 so close, where it's like, wow, these guys kind of really stick to a script in like a way that I like. Like, I don't like hate the tropes.
What, like there's a tiny little thing that's going on, and then suddenly it turns out that there's a massive national conspiracy going on.
That and usually the first old guy who's friendly to you is probably going to be the villain. So it's like, it's so I'm playing Judgment fresh off of 4, 5, and 6, and I'm sitting
like,
there.
Genda's gonna
I'm
be
sitting
the
there like,
bad guy.
is Genda the mole? Is Genda like working with the Yakuza? Is Genda like, what's the big betrayal moment here in Judgment? And it never really happens. They never really go the Yakuza route, and instead they kind of do their own thing, which maybe will be a trope in Judgment. They kind of
it was a trope of
go ahead.
that. I was sad. I was glad that, because a lot of the time when I'm watching like detective TV shows, they're like, "Hey, the criminal was this person who was on screen for 20 seconds."
Yeah.
And you had no reason to believe that this person had any interest in doing anything.
Scooby-Doo.
So the fact that there was a person who was in the game for a reasonable amount of time, we're like, okay, yeah.
And there were a lot. I feel like there were a lot of faces like that were involved in the crime itself, and a lot of reasons for the things that were going on. That it wasn't just like, oh, it's just a psycho serial killer. So like they really kind of brought it home, and I wasn't expecting some of the stuff that happened in that story. I wasn't expecting it to go that route.
No.
Initially, like I hear on the back of the box serial killer in Kamurocho, and I'm like, oh, here we go. But it went a lot deeper than that, and it played a lot with power in the government and police and all that stuff, and it was a different tone, a different kind of enemy in a game like this than just
there's just a strong guy,
big bad Tojo clan guy who's breaking up the clan. He's a fucker, and he's also really old
20 times throughout the game.
Every guy in the Yakuza universe who's over the age of 60 gets more ripped, and he's gonna fuck you up. But they didn't do that in this one, and that was a pleasant surprise. I actually really liked the story in Judgment. I think they continuously kind of, as their games go on, like just kind of get better at the whole thing. Like I think it started at, well, I don't want to keep dogging on like 3, 4, or 5 or anything, because the stories are really good in those games. But like, I feel like as they mature and age at RGG Studio, like their stories do get better, and I think they really capstoned off the Yakuza series well with 6, with like to me my favorite story in that series. And then they do Judgment right after it, and it's like, wow, this is totally out of their comfort zone in ways. I mean, it's still very familiar. It's still very obviously their style, but they broke their little trope mold, and they're good at that too. So it's like, interesting.
It was weird because it definitely, as I was going through, and there's some evidence of that in the chat, that it's like, there doesn't feel like there's much game left, and they still need to wrap up a lot of stuff / jump the shark or something, and then suddenly it does all make sense, and it's all fine. It doesn't do anything completely ridiculous, quite like 6 did. The end of 6 is ridiculous, and you had no reason to think that any of that stuff was going to happen.
The twist in 6... It's literally impossible to see coming. Like there's literally no way to predict that at all. Like,
no.
Like not even in the fucking, not even like the most like proud, like, oh, I called that, like kind of person. Like there's just no way. Like it quite literally comes out of nowhere. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. Almost full named you, Abby. What about you?
I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it, and I think that I would love future installments. There's just like a few things in this game that really bugged me and that I didn't really like that much. The God, what did they call them?
Drones.
The drones fucking sucked. Like, I hated the drones. I did one drone race and was like, nope, that's enough for me, thanks. I didn't like the... Oh god, what are they called? Where you, like, follow people around.
The tracking stuff.
Tailing missions.
Didn't enjoy any of those.
I think I like the idea of them. I feel like there were a couple too many, and they were a little too long.
I think there's more fun ways they could do those. Like, you have these disguises and you don't use them ever, besides like 2 or 3 missions, and it's like, give me like a tailing bonus if I put on one of my like 9 disguises that I can't wear unless it's a designated mission.
Yeah. Like, there were so many things in the game that I feel like they underused. Like, there was lock picking, which they used quite a lot, but then there was another one that was like
the thumb turning.
Yeah,
the thumb turning thing,
I did it once.
I used literally one time. It made me use it once. So.
After that mission,
I think the actual game uses it twice, and then it's the most common thing in the camera VR. Like, you won't do lock picking, you'll do thumb turn picking, and then obviously the locksmith jobs.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Oh yeah, you know what? I didn't do any of the locksmith guy stuff. Because like I did a lot of the friendships in the game, like I did like 30 of them out of the 50, but they kept giving them to me, like, and it reminded me of Persona 5 where I'm getting new social links like towards the end of the game, and it's like, look, buddy, I no longer have time for you. This I got shit to do. So I met the locksmith guy like really late in my playthrough here, and I'm like, well, buddy, I'm in the mindset now where I'm solving this case. I'm not doing any of your shit, so I didn't do any of his stuff, so I didn't actually Except after that first mission where they introduced the wire thing, I'm like, well, that's a consumable. I'm going and stocking up on wires. And then I never used another one.
I broke one in the first mission, and then I was like, oh no, and then I never broke another.
Yeah.
I think, so the issues...
I did do it in camera VR. I did do it in camera VR. Sorry. Yeah, I did.
Like...
Sorry.
I feel like part of my problem as well with like some of the issues that I had is that my gameplay was broken up into like 2 quite sizable chunks. So I had like a 15-hour play session in June at some point.
Yeah.
And then I did the rest like last month or whatever it was. So like I don't really remember the old stuff. I don't remember if I enjoyed that. But I sure didn't want to go back to doing any of the like friendships or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel the desire to do that once I picked the game up again. So that could be like why I don't love this game as much as you guys do. I don't think it's a bad game. I want to put that out there. I think it's worth playing, but I don't love it.
So like your second session was less side stuff and more just I want to beat the story.
Well, yeah. Because I think I was at chapter 7 when I jumped back in.
That's pretty close to the end.
And I had to relearn all of the story as well, so I was trying to remember what had happened in the story.
Easy.
Like, just if you're going to play this game, don't take a 4-month break from it.
I mean, it like at the start of each chapter, it's quite nice that it gives like a recap of the previous chapter / a little bit before. But most of the time, I've literally just played the previous chapter. I don't need to know.
Yeah, I kind of wish that I had saved it at the end of a chapter, so that I would have come into them going, oh,
I think
Yakubi's new mission is to decide who the mole is. Like,
are those cutscenes part of the theater? Because you're able to review cinematics.
No,
are they?
I think so.
Because that would be like the easiest way to do it.
I didn't know that
they were there.
After my long break of Yakuza 5, I had to go through the theater and just kind of refresh my memory because I was playing as another character at the time, and I'm like, "Who the fuck am I doing? What am I doing?" Just kind of just go through. Oh, okay, that. Oh, okay, that. Oh, okay, that. Because I started playing it again, and then like Akiyama's like saying his name, and I'm like, "Bro, I have no clue who that is. I have no clue who that is." Like, you need to refresh me. I think a decent thing they can implement into this series in the future, particularly for Judgment, because I feel like Judgment has a more name drop heavy story than like any of the. Now, there's a lot of family ties in Yakuza games. Like a lot of names get dropped, but
there was surprisingly few.
Judgment has more than I think usually, unless you're saying this one has few.
I feel like there's 3.
Because there's like the
families.
There's like the
the Kasais,
like,
the Matsuganes, and the Kyoreis.
While this one doesn't have like the Yakuza family stuff, it still has, I feel, a similar amount of factions, like between the Matsugane and the Kyohei, or however the hell you say it. the health department people, the cops.
Oh yes, those, yeah.
The people at the lab. There's like a lot of names to keep track of, so like hopping in and out. I think what they could do in a future Judgment game, because it's a detective game, and like you have your case files, whatever. Like you could detectives are refreshing their brains all the time. I
found the case file stuff a waste of time.
It's not good. There's really no information in there that you could really utilize.
It was something that I was like, okay, I've played Phoenix, right? I know what sort of stuff's going to be in here, and it was just all guff and pointless.
Yeah, it is pointless. You get more information out of the character bios. But
there was weird sections where this evidence makes complete sense to present right now, and it's not what they want at all.
Yeah.
And
there was one
you want to pursue a line of questioning, and the correct answer is the one that makes the least amount of sense. Like someone's link to something else. You're like, oh, it's clearly this guy who he spoke to before. No. Oh, it's this guy who he worked for 20 years. No. It's this guy who, as far as I know, he has never met before in his life. Yes, it is.
There was one bit of evidence that he had to present at some point to Hammerer, which was him with someone who got murdered later that day.
Yes.
And there are two pieces of evidence that you could have chosen from that were obvious. One of them was him entering a nightclub with this person. So I was like, well,
video
that's the
evidence.
One. So I clicked on that one, and it went, I don't know what your point is. Mate, I think you got it a bit wrong. And I'm like,
yeah.
Alright, is it you leaving the nightclub on your own instead then? Oh yeah, that one's right. And I feel like they could have probably made an exception of being like, either one of these two will probably do the job.
Yeah.
It would just be like a slightly different line of dialogue.
I think a feature that they could... just one second. I just want to get out the... For the recap point, to help Abby out, I think they could employ what Dragon Quest does.
Dragon Quest is good.
When you boot Dragon Quest back up, it gives you a summary of your adventures every single time. And not just at chapter breaks. Like, it gives you, hey, on your last adventures, you did this, you did that. And it's like, oh, nice, thank you.
Especially when it's such a story-heavy thing. Because if you, I forgot entirely who... basically everyone was. The dirty cop didn't have no clue. No clue.
Oh, Ayabe.
Yeah.
Abaye.
They were bringing his name up, and I'm like, I might have met him. I don't know. I don't think that I'm ever gonna love a Judgment game like I love Yakuza. But I'm sort of hoping that if they make more of them, that they improve, and I just get to be like, this is as good as Yakuza, and.
Yeah, most of my issues are things that are unique to Judgment for being a different style of game. But I know that you had an issue with it. Every Yakuza game has a way for you to make an absurd amount of money. Judgment's absurd way to make money is the VR thing.
Yeah.
But only at the high level, which you need to spend a lot of money for on the Kickstarter, which you don't really feel like you get anything out of, and also having a ton of play passes that are a random drop.
Yeah.
I was consistently poor in.
Yeah. The SPs in the early game, the SP drop is ridiculous for unlocking skills. Like I was a master locksmith before the end of chapter 1. Because all of those things are super cheap, and I hated it saying, hey, you can buy 20 things, because they're all 100 SP.
Oh god, what was I going to say? There was something that I hated. Oh, mortal wounds. That's what I was going to talk about, the mortal damage thing. Me and Bill were talking about this while we were both playing.
Weird mechanic.
I don't know why they put it in there, because it just meant that I just had to keep running to get myself fixed up and spend all of my money on that.
Yeah, 20 grand on being healed.
Yeah.
40 grand if you want a portable heal.
Yeah. So I think
stupid.
It was an interesting idea, but because it was like, oh, you need to be careful when people are using their super moves. It really took the piss when people with guns automatically inflicted mortal wounds.
Because you get a mortal wound from any gunshot.
Yeah.
It's like,
and then they also have super moves where they use many, many bullets.
Dodging,
basically
dodging gunfire in this series sucks. Has always sucked. It sucks in every Yakuza game.
I don't know why they consistently go, yeah, right, at this stage we'll introduce guns, because it's just that point in a Yakuza game where every player sort of just goes, oh... I don't...
But normal, like, at the very least in 0 and maybe Kiwami 1, you were able to use guns. So it was
not
like, okay,
well.
they
like,
can
the
use
gun
guns.
mechanics sucked if you were
they
using
were awful,
them.
but at least you could use them as well.
I
Whereas
think
this
more
time, Yagumi's
times than ever, though, I would pick up a gun, aim it at someone, and then throw the gun at them instead of shooting it.
Hit the wrong button. I was able to shoot someone with a shotgun in 6. So that was fun. And there's the heat action in 6 where Kiryu takes the pistol and shoots someone in the stomach with it. So
I like how Kiryu never kills people.
Well, Yagami has like actual logic for never killing people because he's only ever using his fists. But I liked the it's not the heat this time. It's
EX actions they're called.
Yeah, the EX actions. I like that a lot more. As for fighting styles, I only ever used the Tiger because Crane is far too slow, and they're like, oh, use it on large groups of enemies, but everyone's able to get so far away that it doesn't really work. So I was just always in the red mode.
I think this game is the first time that I actively switched between fighting styles, because usually I just stick with one. I'm really boring
I did try.
in that aspect, but...
Well, yeah, in 0, 1, 2, and 6, I only used... Well, 6 I only had one style, but I primarily used one style, and I tried to switch it up and be like, okay, I'm surrounded by a group of dudes, let's go Crane and do some sweeping stuff. But I ended up getting hit so much that it was just faster to be pummeling individually.
I feel kind of like I ragdolled a lot more in this game as well. I don't know why that is.
Oh, you got knocked down a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I'd always accidentally press triangle because it was like an instinct thing, and then I'd immediately burn a bar of my EX action for like one of the worst heat moves in the game.
I probably had...
And the more that you use it, I noticed,
the
like,
less
if you
it
keep
does,
doing it, it does less. I'm like, well, great. But the reason that I got screwed over was if you press triangle when someone's not close enough for it to count as an EX action, it instantly gets you back up. Rather than mashing X, you do like a little leg spin and you're instantly back up.
Right.
So rather than mashing X, you can hit triangle and you'll just be up. But if they're too close, you waste an EX bar for nothing. It's like, oh, for God's sake. You have multiple buttons you could be using. Why triangle for everything?
I probably had the most fun in the combat in this that I've had in the Dragon Engine, probably. Because it felt diverse to do certain things, whereas like in 6, he's Kiryu, and like I like the way it felt in 6. But my favorite combat in the series prior to this was 0, because there were so many ways to be like, okay, I want to be fast, I want to be slow, I want to use this, I want to move like this, and
I want to be a breakdancer.
Like, I really loved the wall vaulting and the frog hopping and being able to swap between, you know, oh man, there's like 19 guys around me. Being able to execute a frog leap into a sweep kick was really fun, and like going into the red one, I forget the names of those, Tiger and Crane. I forget which one was which.
Yeah.
And just like, I just really liked the way Yagami moved around the battles in this one. I really liked his style. I like being him in general. But like the fighting in this one, I felt like they're like nailed the speed of the old engine with the weight of the new engine. Because the one thing when I played Kiwami 2, I'm like, man, going from 0 and like Kiwami to this, like I love it. I love the physics of it. I love kicking somebody and having them fly down the street, like ragdoll down into a window. It feels really great and weighty, and it has impact. But I'm missing some of the speed of 0 and like just the ability to chain a combo that wasn't tied to the fact that I'm a big man. Like they added to the physics. But in this one, I guess it's also because Yagami's smaller than Kiryu, and it makes sense. Like him being able to hop around and run and jump and do things in combat that I couldn't do in 6 or Kiwami 2 in this engine, like it felt real good. I really liked the combat in this a lot, actually.
It could work quite nicely, the more that I think about it, if Judgment does have has sequels, because then you can be using this sort of old classic fighting style that you're not going to get super bored of, because the new style is going to be turn-based.
Mix it up. Master thinking, you know what I mean?
So you're like, okay, you have the mainline games which have turn-based combat, and you've got the Judgment games, which is a little bit more faster paced, and you're not being burnt out on the fact that the combat's been the same for 6 games.
I kind of hope that next game, if that is the case, they throw in being able to play as Kaito during certain parts, because that'll scratch that Kiryu itch for me. I feel like
for sure,
a bit more tanky.
Yeah, I think like the future of the series. I think they if they lean on a lot of the stuff that I loved about this one. Like, there's a lot I loved about this one's Kamurocho. Like, I really like the friendship stuff. I think a lot of the nicest moment, like some of the most touching side story type moments, came from the end of a lot of like friendship storylines from people like fast food managers and restaurant owners and people trying to get dates and 2 coworkers who like each other and don't know it. Like, so a lot of stuff like that. Like, lean on that heavier again, make it a little more in depth, maybe make it a little more Persona-y.
Pervy thieves.
And then let me play as Kaito. I think that's almost a no-brainer. Like, adding in the playable Kaito, like,
or a Sugiura.
Like, I you know what, dude? I wouldn't be surprised if they go the 3 playable character route, because they're all very distinct in their abilities. Yeah. And then the information access that they have, Kaito with his Yakuza ties, Yagami with his law ties, and then Sugiura with his like this thief ties, like in the underworld, like the underbelly kind of thing of not related to any crime families, but he's criminal, like a Robin Hood-esque figure.
You know what? Interesting. Like, there were a couple of moments that happened in it. Judgment felt weird because I'm used to Kamurocho, but it felt completely separate. Like, the only thing that felt like it linked it to anything Yakuza, aside from Kamurocho, was the Ono Michio suddenly showed up. I was like, it'd be really nice if they do more stuff in the future, and you're like, hey, you hear stuff about what new Yakuza guy's doing, or you run into Majima beating up dudes.
Yeah,
just to like slightly ground it a bit more in this universe.
It's unclear like what their intentions are with this. Like, I say that after they've said, and we want this to be separate from Yakuza, but at the same time, does that mean it's separate from the Kamurocho that is in Yakuza?
I feel like if they wanted it to be properly separate from Yakuza, they probably shouldn't have put it in Kamurocho, which is
I wonder if that's
the things most synonymous with Yakuza. Yeah,
I wonder if that's just a resource thing too. Like they could pump out so many games because they just reuse assets like nobody's business. Even down the user interface, like the cell phone is literally the cell phone from Yakuza 6. But it's impressive though, is like, to me, why I love these games and why I love Judgment, and like especially coming after, like I played it right after 6. Like, I thought I'd be burnt out, but I wanted more. I wanted to play it. I was just craving more. I was loving modern Kamurocho, and I wanted to experience it again. I know what I'm getting, and I love it, and like, I'll take it. I'll keep buying your games. I'll just keep doing it.
Are you going to buy the remastered collection when it's all out again?
Yeah.
Going to replay Yakuza 5?
I'll probably play 3. Probably won't play 5 ever again, as long as I live.
The more I think about it, Abby and I have had the weirdest like direction, which I guess a lot of people would have.
A lot of people have your direction, yeah.
Because if they've come to it since 0, they would have gone,
I think the timing of these releases was very weird, and there's nothing really they could have done about 6, because 6 came out. I mean, they couldn't hold on to it, a brand new release for that long while they waited for the remasters. But I think they maybe could have timed those remasters a little better.
I'm wondering if it is. I mean, again, I don't know how this studio works. That obviously Yakuza has been localized the entire time, but then suddenly it caught on. And they're like, "Oh crap! A lot more people are actually going to want to play 6
it's funny
than we had originally planned."
It's funny,
and now we have 5 games to put out.
The trajectory of it is funny. Like 3 getting localized was like a miracle for a lot of people. Like, that was a new Yakuza game, and like Sega said, "No, it's not coming to the West. Sorry." And then they finally announced it, and then they cut a bunch of content that they thought might be unsuitable for the American audiences, and people were pissed, but we still got it. Getting 4 with no cut content was like a miracle, but then it sold like shit, so 5 only came out digitally in the United States. And then with Yakuza 0, it didn't get localized on the PS3 for us. but the PS4 port did, and then that was kind of like this perfect storm of, hey, this is the perfect entry point for this 5-game series. Play it. And it was the word of mouth for Zero, just electric, caught it on fire. Now there's more Yakuza fans than ever before. And it's nice.
I mean, it still continues to amaze me that the only reason that I'm into this franchise is because of your one little bit in an episode. Be like, hey, I was trying to find a game for a kid, and it turned out that his dad had sent thugs after to get it. I'm like, that sounds like a really cool game.
Yeah, like that trademark side story stuff. They nail it like every time, and like there's some side cases.
Except for the first game, Kiwami one. No.
Well, yeah, they could have revamped some of those for the Kiwami one. They clearly didn't. Those are clearly side stories from the first game on the PS2 that are just, wow, these are bad. These are, oh no, I'm getting mugged. It's like, oh, I'm beat your ass. Like that's every sub story in Yakuza 1, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, Yakuza 1 was not my favorite.
Nah.
I think Zero will always be my favorite just because you get to play as Majima for like a decent chunk.
Well, half the game.
Yeah, like more than an hour and a half at the end of Kiwami 2.
Yeah.
Zero's one of the best for sure.
I do understand why you like 6 so much, though.
6 is nothing will top it for me. I don't think ever. In terms of
it makes it,
the Yakuza games, like 6 was like this perfect, and a lot of tropes that I liked from not Yakuza. Like I loved Onomichi. Like I think that town is the best, one of the best towns in the series. And I love the spearfishing. I just love that bar.
There's fishing in that game?
Yeah. It turns into an on-rail shooter.
Oh my god, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's actually incredible. It's you go underwater, you go on this boat, and they take you out to the middle of the ocean. You get in a wetsuit, you pick your spear gun, and you dive underwater, and then it turns into an on-rail shooter where you have your spear gun, and it's like
how did I never come across
every
this?
fish you shoot, you catch. And then the big sub-story is like there's this giant shark who killed the girl's like grandfather or father or whatever in the sub-story plot. And he's been like sighted again, and you have to go kill him. And he's literally like a massive like dragon-sized shark. And it's
seriously, how did I not come across it? I admittedly, when I was in Hiroshima, I was mostly story stuff because it felt so small that I was like, nothing's happening here.
There's a lot more that peels away there. Not a lot, but like the stuff with the bar I really liked. Like becoming friends with these people, like Kiryu trying to integrate into bar culture. I thought was really funny, and there's some really touching side story moments in there. I did the baseball stuff, which was really funny as well, and like really played on my like underdog, like Bad News Bears like tropes that I really liked from like a lot of American baseball movies, and just the small town vibes of there, and like this like the ghost stories and some of the graveyard sub stories, and like there's a lot of like tight knitness in there that I really appreciated after Kamurocho. I mean, Kamurocho is small too, and like you get to know a lot of faces and places, but
it felt at least 2 to 3 times bigger than
Onomichi's like a city block. So like it's and I love the whole cast there, and I think that Yakuza 6 had one of the best supporting casts in the studio's life. And just the story's personal nature more so than it having to do primarily. I mean, it was a lot of Yakuza stuff in there, but like the stakes were a little more grounded in like actual what you consider your family outside of the Yakuza, and picking your family which like it was really nice. I really liked 6.
I enjoyed it a lot. I imagine if I had been playing this entire time, it would have meant a whole lot more to me, just because it is like end of a character arc.
Still fucking cried though.
Well, yeah, but
and I think that's one piece of advice, one expectation I gave to Tao is that even after everything we've said about Kiwami, the one strength Kiwami has is that it does introduce the beating heart to the Yakuza series, and like that's worth a playthrough alone, is introducing Kiryu and Haruka, their relationship, which is that's the thing that's always there,
apparently all of it,
pumping blood through every game, and you get to see where it starts. That's one strength of Kiwami that
speaking of Kiwami
is worth it.
Anyone listening who doesn't own it or hasn't played it, it's in this month's Humble Monthly for $12 with My Time at Portia and what was it, Soul Calibur 6?
Yeah, and
That's
now
a good bundle.
it is a very good bundle. It's a very good month.
And then 4 or 5 other things that they'll announce in like a month. So
if anybody out there has been subscribed to Humble this entire time, now you also have 0 and now Kiwami 1. Congratulations.
I didn't get 0. I was very sad.
Congratulations, everybody. Welcome to Yakuza. Maybe Kiwami 2 will be in there next. The collection maybe will never come to PC, but
it's a miracle that we got it on PS4 by the sounds of things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, future is bright for RGG games. They keep churning them out. Interesting changes ahead for Yakuza 7.
I feel like we should do an episode just dedicated to Yakuza 7 when that happens.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like
you
there's going to be a
assume
lot of changes.
Carve out our niche as the
It might be the worst game ever made.
the one-stop shop for Yakuza.
So maybe we'll do that.
Maybe.
I'm excited for it.
Because I do realise that we've been talking about
Yeah.
one game this entire episode.
That's what I've been
and
trying
we've been recording for an hour and 10 minutes.
I was just thinking like,
Well,
I should
bearing
try
in
to
mind
end
we
this.
didn't start for 20 minutes.
That's true.
That's true.
But that's still 50 minutes of talk about Judgment.
All right. What should we talk about next? Should we roll a dice?
I mean, there's another game that we've all played,
Luigi.
but
Do we want to save that for the end, though?
Yeah.
Because then we've got something to
Have
all
a
talk about.
sandwich.
Yes.
All right.
You can talk about Destiny if you want, so I can go.
Yeah, there's
get
2 games that Bill and
coffee.
I have played, and
Yeah.
there's one game that Eddie
I actually
and I
don't
played.
have as much to say about Destiny as I usually would.
Sick. I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
I can probably say it pretty quick. I really enjoyed Shadowkeep.
Yeah.
I
And
like where it's likely to go with the battle pass and the seasons. I was honestly playing it for a lot longer than I ever have at a expansion. I have only stopped playing because of Judgment.
Yes.
And I really need to get back to it.
It's a game where I didn't stop playing it this time because I'm bored of it. I stopped playing because Outer Worlds came out. I played Judgment.
I don't have time.
I dipped my toes into the fucking cesspool that is Call of Duty. Like, there's a lot that's happened. I'm not even gonna talk about that. That game's a mess. And like, I really like it, dude. Like, there's initial complaints of like, and I understand them and I agree with them that like, the initial first week campaign missions for Shadowkeep end abruptly and in a weird way. Yeah. I'm not gonna say what they are necessarily, but like, I don't even think they're spoilery really.
It's
but like,
obviously meant to roll into the seasonal
and
thing that they're going for.
And they've been doing that.
It just I guess not that they expected people to take a little bit longer with it because
sure
it did cut like the new stuff did come in the next week update,
and then every week
but
after
it was a case
stuff.
of most people were done by like the second day. Yeah. And so
did you log on since the holiday update or the Halloween update?
I have not yet.
There's a new cutscene that plays when you open it up. And this is what I think is one of the coolest things that they're doing is like they're one of their goals with Shadowkeep and going forward with Destiny was to make it like more of an MMO and more of like a, hey, this thing unfolds. Yeah, this thing unfolds over weeks rather than you play the campaign like a Halo game and you're done.
And then the next the Curse of Osiris comes out and you're like, okay, I'm going to play for another week to get like the story done, and then not touch it until Warmind or whatever the next one was. Like
they always end their story with the title card, and there was not a title card after beating the last mission of Shadowkeep. So like, there's no bookend, and there's a reason why is it's still going. Like there's stuff being built behind Ikora, which more progress is made every week. Yeah. On that Vex portal. There's new cutscenes with Eris. Every week there's a new Eris mission that brings one of her fire team members back out to her.
I have missed a couple of those.
Same.
Do they still? So is it like if you don't pick it up this week,
I actually haven't looked.
You can't get it at all. Or
I haven't looked and see if they just show up for you if you didn't do it. Because I missed two.
Could I leave them all to the end and then do them all at once, or is it you've got to wait for the cycle to come back?
It's funny. Whenever I turn the game on, I never go to the moon, so I always just hit Vex Offensive and go do that.
Yeah.
But
I really like.
It's good.
I like what it's done.
It's good. I did the first half of the raid.
I haven't touched the raid
Never
yet
got back
because I
to
still
it.
can't find a clan.
It's just so hard to organize raid stuff. Like, even with people I know who are like live in the same city as me, we did that one night, and then ever since it's just nobody's ever around, and it's just impossible. And it's like, well, okay.
Yeah, I think that even though we both said, hey, we should do the raid, I just need to accept that I am never going to get a Destiny raid done.
It's really cool.
I've just got to accept it. I'm sure it is. I'm sure that all the other ones were really
neat
cool
puzzles.
too.
There's a really neat. The second encounter is like a weird lane-based tower defense thing that's super hectic and interesting mechanically. I'm not going to go into the mechanics, but like they do some. One of the strengths of Destiny and why I love it, and I'll always have a place in my heart, no matter how bad a current iteration of it is they do things in the FPS genre that nobody else is doing, and I appreciate them for that, even if they have missteps along the way. I think their intentions of trying to make an MMO shooter with complicated World of Warcraft raid mechanics inside of it is like some kind of Frankenstein shit that I just love to death. I think it's so cool.
Also, Shadowkeep, home to possibly the greatest set-piece reveal.
Man, what a
ever.
sick-ass... The Bungie's art department is like...
You turn around a corner... And
they're on
suddenly
another
there's
level.
a thing in front of you, the music kicks up, and you're like, oh my
It's legitimately
God.
creepy. It was one of the creepier moments in Destiny 2. Like,
and also super rewarding.
yeah.
Despite the fact that literally nothing was happening with it. It was just like, hey, here's this thing that we've been having in concept art for
since the first
years.
game. Like, people have been looking at that ship since the first game's concept art and like wondering where the fuck is it, Bungie? Like, where is this? And like,
and then the odd cutscene here and
boom.
there. It's like,
wow,
oh, here it is. Here it is.
Yeah.
And then it's there.
It's really great. I think the game's in a pretty good spot right now. And for people listening who have been out of the loop with news, it's free to play everywhere. You of course have to buy Shadowkeep and Forsaken still, but you can jump right into Shadowkeep. You don't have to buy Forsaken if you don't want to do like the Black Forge stuff or any of that shit. You don't need to do it. I think the Forsaken campaign is very good and worth playing for the missions, but there's no rush on that stuff. You don't need to do it to play with your friends. So. And it's actually, I got to experience the free-to-play stuff through a proxy, through my cousin getting into the game, so I could speak to, like, what you can and can't do and, like, what your experience is like jumping in free-to-play while your friends all own Shadowkeep. My cousin jumped in, and you're able to do all the strikes, all the Crucible stuff, all the Nightfalls. You can go to the moon and do patrols. The only things you can't really do are the story stuff from Shadowkeep. But like my cousin jumped on, and he hasn't played Destiny.
So can he still do Vex Offensive or no?
Vex Offensive is part of the season pass that comes with Shadowkeep. Okay. So like that activity, like the new activities, like the actual like Vex Offensive and what are some other new shits? Content. But like he could jump into the strike playlist and get into one of the new strikes. So like,
okay, that's a bit weird.
Like, and what's nice is a lot of people were like, I was really confused by the reactions people had. Like, oh man, the free to play thing sucks because you're doing these old story missions for no reason, and all the gear that drops still upgrades for you. So like, my cousin did the campaigns. He did the Red War, he did Warmind, and he did Curse of Osiris. He did all the three of those campaigns, and by the time he was done, his light level was 910. So I think it's totally worth doing those, because you're still getting blues and legendaries and stuff to drop at your light level and above your light level. Like, so I don't quite understand that it's not rewarding to do those for a new player aspect, because it very clearly is, because my cousin started the Shadowkeep campaign over 900. So it's like, I don't know if people were just they didn't think they'd get anything for doing that, but like loot still drops. So
I think the biggest negatives I've heard in this post Activision Destiny is that the Eververse is balked in the way that prices are set up at the moment.
Insane.
It just feels a bit weird.
They're insanely expensive.
And
it's a shame.
The level boost for some reason is absurdly expensive.
And it's not even worth
$20.
It's not even worth it either.
No, because you can just be like, hey, I've got some crap armor, I'm sticking it in my vault.
Yeah, it truly,
you're done.
The boost existing makes about as much sense as like me trying to enter the NFL. It makes no sense.
Those are like, and then obviously people are unhappy about certain guns or whatever that don't really affect me, or exotics.
Yeah, class balancing. People will be mad about balancing till the end of time.
Yeah.
That stuff I never
I've
really paid
enjoyed
attention to, but
this is the first time I've played Crucible on PC.
It's good.
I really enjoy it.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
I enjoy it a lot more than I played on console. I actually reached max Valor
I actually
rank.
think
Is it Valor or Glory?
I actually think
The non-competitive one.
I actually think it's pretty balanced too. Like maybe I don't know the ins and outs of the meta, but like I've used while doing Iron Banner and other stuff like that, I've used a lot of different shit just for sake of challenges. Except for the fusion rifles, I fucking hate using fusion rifles. I'd rather die.
Them. Yeah.
But like I use a lot of stuff. I used pulses, I used scouts, I used like submachine guns, and like a lot of the stuff I have, I'm like, wow, I'm doing really well with a lot of this stuff. I feel like the weapon balance is kind of like in a spot where I feel like you could do well with just about anything except for fusion rifles. Unless you're really good with fusion rifles, then I hate you because you killed me 1,000 times during Iron Banner week. Bungie, please never make fusion rifle challenges. Luke Smith, I know you listen to this show. Please stop. Just delete the fusion rifles. I don't even use them. Just get rid of them. Get rid of the fusion rifles, except for linear fusion rifles. Sorry. Anyway.
But they don't count
towards
towards fusion rifle kills.
I like those, but yeah. But yeah,
I think
game's in a cool spot.
I think that my issue with fusion rifles, whilst we're on it, is it uses special ammo, so you're only going to get 2 shots.
Yeah, it sucks.
And your chances of getting a killing blow with those 2 shots, when you're not used to using fusion rifles, and 2 because they take so goddamn long to charge up, you're like, this is potluck.
They disabled Telesto for that week.
Yeah,
too.
because everyone was breaking it.
I got my kills with it, thankfully. I didn't know I had it in my vault, and I'm like, oh shit. I've been complaining about Telesto. I didn't know I had the damn gun.
I didn't know about Telesto. I suddenly saw people saying, hey, Zer's got Telesto, you should go grab it because it's useful for the thing. The moment I grab it, the next time I log in, there's the patch that disables Telesto.
They've been doing that recently, where they've been disabling certain exotics for certain moments because it's broken until they fix it. And I actually think they shouldn't do that. I think you fucked up. Let the weapon stay. I don't know. Bungie's so slow to implement a patch, that's why they disabled it. But the weird thing is
that one challenge where they used the wrong icon. What was it? They used a sniper rifle icon saying get grenade launcher kills, but it's actually supposed to be a submachine gun. They're like, all right, that was 100% on us. We super cocked up. Just have that challenge for free.
Yeah.
So it's like you do both.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
But I think overall, game's in a good spot. Ebby, you should play.
I look forward to seeing what happens for the next year.
Ebby,
it's free now, Ebby. It's free, Ebby. And there's bows and rangers.
Ooh, they just put out that exotic heavy bow. I gotta get it. There's a quest for it at the gunsmith. Actually, Ken Ross, did you see the lore in that quest? Did you read about that at all?
I've not seen it. No.
So,
Exos, I don't pay much attention to exotics.
The numbers on Exos represents the amount of times they've been reset, and Exo usually you don't hit that high. The way what is Banshee up to? Banshee 44. That's a really high number for an Exo to be reset. So his memory is kind of on the fritz. And in the quest dialogue for the exotic bow, he's telling you where to get a certain thing, and he says, "Why don't you just go ask Cade where to get it?" And so Banshee still thinks Cade's alive in his current reset. No. It's very sad. It's very fucking it's like wow, Bungie, fuck you too. That's really mean. I think he calls him his buddy Cade too. I think. So it was a neat little moment like that. That goes into the ongoing story stuff with Destiny, which I think is cool. The way they're doing it nowadays. So many little pieces of dialogue to catch and take in. Destiny, good stuff. Let me cross out the list here. Let me cross this out the list here. Let me cross it. I'm not talking about this. Cross out the list. Sorry.
What did you delete that you weren't going to talk about?
Asgard's Wrath.
Now we'll always know.
The new Oculus game. The new big 40-hour RPG from the Oculus Studios.
I thought you were talking about. No, there wasn't an Asgard game that had DLC paid ending.
Yeah, that was
Asgard's Wrath, wasn't it?
Shit.
Oh no, that was Asura.
Asura's Wrath. Yeah, you're right. I was actually going wow, he's right. And I was googling Asgard's Wrath, as if I was going to get the other game, but I was just getting the other game. Yeah, I mean, I didn't play that enough. That has strong GOTY list contender written all over it. It's basically VR God of War in an RPG that's really high budget, and it's pretty fucking amazing. But I have a lot of conflicting thoughts nowadays as my knees like somehow get worse of playing a VR game that's over 40 hours long in a game that doesn't feel right to sit in. And I love standing and playing VR. I love it. I love playing Beat Saber. I love playing Skyrim. I played Skyrim for many hours in VR on between PSVR and PC. That I'm playing Asgard's Wrath, and I'm like, man, I love this game, but this game's like 40 hours long. I'm never going to beat this because the chunks that I'm playing it in are so short because I can't stand in VR like longer than an hour and a half before like my back and knees to start like giving out on me.
Sounds like you need to get knee bracers.
It sounds like I need to get Ring Fit and get fit.
I really want it. The more I hear about Ring Fit, the more I want it.
Dude, I watched the Easy Ally stream, and I'm like, I need to play this game. It looks so fun.
I have it, but getting over the hurdle of actually starting the
Here's
thing
the
is
problem.
my problem right now.
That's it. It's
here's my
once you
biggest
start,
problem.
you'll probably be fine. It'll get you get your game brain going.
My room's on the third floor, and I didn't realize there's a lot of running in place in that game. And
there is like a quiet mode, but I don't think I live. Well, my room is on the second floor, and it's an old house, so the floors are really creaky. So I'm gonna play it in the kitchen.
I want to
thanks to
get
the
all I
Switch.
can.
You can.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can just take the Switch and put it in the living room.
Yeah.
Well, I'm buying this next week.
You're welcome.
My one reservation was like, I'm gonna shake the whole fucking house. I'm on the third floor. I sneeze and everyone goes, "You okay?" It's like But yeah, so that's why
we're all gonna get
it.
fit next year.
Man, what if my totally achievable goal for next year is beat Ring Fit Adventure?
The game looks really fun to play too, like polished.
It honestly looks like
polished.
Every time I look at it, I'm like, did the Breath of the Wild team just split off?
I'm impressed with what I watched
because it looks like similar UI, similar art.
It seems like a perfectly social media marketable game too. Like I see a lot of people. I saw it hit Jimmy Fallon. Like a lot of people are like posting high scores for some of the mini games, and like it's the perfect kind of here. Let me post a picture of myself sweaty type of game. That then it's like, wow, what is that? Yeah. And then it's like, wow, Jimmy Fallon's playing it. Wow, what's this? And like it's perfect. Like it seemed so silly when it was announced, and a lot of people were like, "What Nintendo? What are you doing?" But it's like I think it's a really neat idea, and like I thought it was a neat idea back then too. I don't know, but like
I think it's another one of those interesting things where Wii Fit was obviously a big thing, and you're like, does it actually help your fitness?
Sure.
The Wii Fit, you can say the yoga might help a fair bit for balance and
I feel like
posture
Wii
and things
Fit
like
was
that, but
more about posture and
yeah.
So like, does Ring Fit Adventure actually count as
well
exercise?
As long as it gets your heart rate pumping.
I mean, movements. Yeah, I guess so.
Because there's people who have lost weight playing Beat Saber, and you're just standing there waving your arms around. But like, as long as your heart's pumping fast, then I mean, the cardio's
that's
doing
technically
its thing.
exercise.
So it's like,
it's just, I guess it's just not like.
You're probably not going to get
like
jacked.
you're only doing cardio. Yeah. You're not doing any sort of other.
Like you're not going to look like The Rock after you're done playing Ring Fit.
You're not going to look like the buff dragon you're trying to beat, but you'll be a couple 100 pounds lighter.
So all I can find out about the development of Ring Fit Adventure is that it was made by Nintendo EPD, who
it's nothing to me.
Did Breath of the Wild. So.
I don't know why I said that as if I know who that is.
EPD. It stinks of EPD.
It's the Nintendo Entertainment Planning and Development Division.
Oh, so just their R&D guys?
No. Different to R&D.
Sounds like R&D. It's got develop in it. But fair enough.
Yeah.
Either way, a lot of people seem to enjoy it. I'll probably be like, hey, Christmas, you want to get me a Wii Fit thing again? Without a board.
Like the old days.
Yeah. I feel like a ring's easier to store than a board. You can hang that on a coat hook.
Yeah, man. You can just wear it around your neck.
Apparently you can also use the ring when the game's not on to do
up to 500 reps or something.
Something like that. So you can just be like, people are like, oh, you could take it to work and like sit at work, and I'm not taking that thing.
Wow, what's Bill doing over there? Fucking weirdo.
He's breathing heavily and his arms are going weird.
Because you just need the Joy-Con attached to it. You don't actually need to take your Switch with you when you do that stuff. And it stores it on on the Joy-Con, I guess. I don't know.
Interesting.
Or the little...
Or in the ring.
Like the box that it's... Yeah. I will say, though, their naming conventions have gone a bit downhill, calling the character that the ring represents in the game Ring.
Oh,
what's my name? Oh, it's Ring.
Ring.
Thanks.
So yeah,
that's 10 minutes talked about a game that none of us have played.
Sick.
Abby, what have you played?
I want to talk about Fire Emblem.
Do it.
I'm sorry, Bill. I'm calling you out.
It's okay.
You said you were going to play it, and then
I
bugged you about playing it, and then you gave it up.
I gave it more shots. I did give it more shots. But as I was playing it again, I'm like, I have to be honest with myself. And I need to stop trying to play genres that I think I like, and then instead of like, here's my problem is I think that like, oh yeah, I fucking like turn-based strategy. I really do. I like this shit. Like, I just don't like that one game. And then it's like, I play that one game, and it's like, yeah, that game just stinks. Like XCOM. I don't like playing XCOM. I never enjoyed it. So then it's like, but I like Fire Emblem because I like anime. I like JRPGs. I like Nintendo. And then I'll play Fire Emblem Awakening, and I'll play it for like 8 hours, and I'm like, I don't really feel like playing that anymore. But yeah, that's not like playing on a 3DS. And then like one comes out on the console, and I'm playing it, and I'm like, yeah, this game's slick. I love this stuff. And then as I'm playing it, and I keep playing, I keep trying. I'm like, I just don't ever feel like playing it. I think I just don't like turn-based strategy. It's nothing to do with Fire Emblem. And like, cause I bounced off XCOM, I bounced off Into the Breach, I bounced off every game that is turn-based strategy except for the very first Valkyria Chronicles, and I bounced off Valkyria Chronicles 4. So like, I think I just liked Valkyria Chronicles 1, and that was the only turn-based strategy.
And that's how you
game.
Decided you liked an entire genre.
That's how I mean,
to be fair,
that's how I tricked myself into thinking like, wow, I like being a commander and like commanding these guys. And then it's like, actually, Bill, now that I'm 27, I'm too lazy to be a commander. And like, I feel irresponsible trying to level up all these guys and like figure out the best way to do it. And like, don't mistake me. Like, as I'm playing Fire Emblem, I was playing it on the couch 2 weeks ago. I'm laying there and I'm like trying to get back into it, and I'm like, you know, because I just beat like Yakuza 6 or whatever. I'm like, all right, let's play some Fire Emblem. Let's Fire Emblem. And I'm playing it, and I'm like, yeah, this game kind of rules, right? Like, I really liked. I go back to the academy, and it's fun to like check the boxes there and like go fishing and like talk to people, and I like these characters. I've barely done anything, but I'm like, I like these characters, and then I get into the fighting, and I'm like, I just like one. Here's how I know it's not for me. The genre, and like, and again, nothing to do with Fire Emblem. Like
Is it the permadeath?
I have this our show's fine. It's when you enter a new battle and it shows you the map, and I look at it and go, oh, how am I gonna get to that guy?
See, we have opposite vibes then.
Yes.
I got into like some of the last battles, and I'm like, oh yeah,
hell
yeah.
That's how most people, like, when I read like people's reactions to Fire Emblem, and people who say that, like, because there's a lot of people who like even say this one's not hard enough. Like, there are people out there who will look at that map and go like, oh, I can't wait to like crack this code. Like, it's a puzzle for them. Like, they can't wait to crack it. And like, I wish I looked at it that way, because like that'd be fun for me. But like, my brain just goes, this is a lot of work, and I don't want to do it. And
I think I am halfway between the two of you, because towards the end of the game, when I look at like the super tough maps, I'm like, I have really struggled with some of these. I don't know how I'm gonna deal with that guy. Jesus Christ, he's on a dragon. And all of my dudes have been dying. And I'm generally bad at like every Fire Emblem game I've played, all three of them. I've been like, all right, this time I'm gonna change up where I spawn on the map, and I'm gonna actually plan out where people are going. I do it like twice, and I'm like, nah, default's fine, just go. And I very rarely like change my the people that are out and about.
Mm-hmm.
So I will always have, it's the same as with Pokemon, I'll have a super strong team, and even if they're not the appropriate team, they're super strong, they're gonna do it. And
Yeah.
I end up with people that either, I mean, and Fire Emblem's the worst, because you get like the social stuff, and you're like, I really like these people, and I don't care for any of the others, so I'm not going to train them, and thus I never care for them, and thus they just sort of sit there being useless.
I think I'm just too stupid. I think like, as much as like people will even say this is an easier game in the series, I think for the genre, okay, stupid maybe not the word. That sounds too insulting. I think I'm just not patient enough with the setup in these games and like managing your party, because like it's a larger party than most RPGs. Probably mostly all RPGs, like turn-based strategy games. Like you have a larger collection of units. That's like Valkyria Chronicles 4. Like I was playing it and I'm like, holy shit! So, like I can't manage all these people. Stop adding people. I can't. I can only have in my life.
Well, Persona 5 had that for me towards the end. It's like, hey, we're going to suddenly add another Phantom Thief.
There was stress.
What's the point?
There's
2 hours left of the game.
I'm a little.
I can't level this person.
It's a little easier for me to manage in certain JRPGs. Especially ones that keep everyone the same level, like Dragon Quest. Like your whole party, even benched ones, will get XP. But I just suck at managing it. I'm too impatient, and it's like there's definitely optimal ways to run this character, or like the best ways to like train them in the academy or whatever. And I'm playing it, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm into the genre enough to really dig into these like mechanics and give them the time that they deserve, because I feel like this game is awesome and I'm not giving it the proper attention that it deserves. Because it's I'm never going to go into IVs and EVs in Pokemon, and that's like the Academy stuff. I'm like, maybe that is what's trying to be done here, and I'm actually not min-maxing this properly. Yeah.
And I'm specking people into the wrong zone. I'm like, screw it. I think this person wants to learn to fly.
Well, usually the unit will say, I want to do this, and that's like their base. Well, no, not, but a default class would be more appropriate. And you don't have to min-max with Fire Emblem Three Houses, because it is pretty easy on like a scale of things. The only like big choices that you really have to make when it comes to classing characters is who's going to be the dancer, because we only get one dancer in the entire game.
I picked the one that always dies. Like, she cannot live. She lives for...
Is it Flame?
Yes, it's Flame. She lives for a while, and I'm like, yeah, this is why dancers are cool, because now... he's not called Felix.
There is a guy called Felix.
Not the guy that I'm thinking of.
What does he look like?
He's the Blue Lions guy. Dimitri. Man, Dimitri's just killed 2 dudes. Go dance for him, he'll kill another 2 dudes. And that's why dancers are cool, and then they will focus her, and she'll die in one hit, and she can't defend herself. So
yeah, you need to like pick a good unit that has good evasion or good defense.
But she was so confident when the time came. She's like, I really want to be a dancer. I'm really good at dancing. I'm like, great. Off you go.
For my first playthrough, I did pick her, and forgot to class her into dancer, so just didn't have a dancer for my first playthrough. Then I chose Marianne for my second playthrough, just because she's pretty and I like her. And then I was like, you know what I'm going to do for the last one is I'm going to completely reclass a hero that's usually like a cavalier.
Yeah.
Like a Lance Cavalier is his default thing. So I chose Sylvain, and he's my dancer, and he is incredible. Like, nothing hits him. When it does hit him, it doesn't do damage. And it's just great. I love it. But I can kind of understand where Bill's coming from in terms of, like, not having patience and stuff, because this is the first Fire Emblem game, and I think it's because of Heroes, because Heroes is so reliant on IVs and builds of heroes and what skills they have and how you trigger them, and like that game is very, very dependent on all of that stuff. Whereas every Fire Emblem game I've played before, you can just like leave their default stuff on and you'll get through the game fine. Like, it's not an issue. So with Three Houses, that was the first time on like a main series Fire Emblem game where I've gone, right, if I level them up in Sword, they'll get this skill. And I want that skill for this build. And I've been like, it's really fun to me to try and like figure out, does Deathblow work on this character? Or does like Lockpick work better on this character because they have a higher movement type so they can get to chests faster or whatever.
Yeah.
So like I've really, really enjoyed figuring that stuff out. And Fire Emblem Three Houses, I think, might be, personally, not my favourite Fire Emblem game, but I think it's the best one I've played so far. And I think it's the most accessible one, by far.
I can get behind that. I do, like, I want to rebuy it so that I can play through the other routes.
Yeah, I still have 2 routes to do, because I did Golden Deer first, and then I did Blue Lions, and now I'm on another Golden Deer playthrough. I just don't want to play Black Eagles. I'm going to be honest, I just don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy a capture card that's better than the one I have at the minute, and I'm going to stream Black Eagles, because I feel like that's the only way I'm going to get through it.
Yeah. That's how I felt about Kingdom Hearts.
And it's not because, like, oh, the game's super bad and I don't want to do a third playthrough unless I've got moral support there or whatever. I want to do that third playthrough. I just really don't want to kill the characters that I have fallen in love with over the course of, like, the other 2 routes.
Yeah.
And Black Eagles looks like it's the roughest one for that. But I love Fire Emblem Three Houses a lot. It's real good. I really like it.
I do wish that I could, because, like, the skills and all of that sort of micro stuff. I know that I like micromanagement from other games, and I don't know what it is about these games that I just don't want to do it or can't do it. I'm just like, nope.
I feel like I've learnt a lot by playing Heroes, to be fair. Because I never did it in Awakening or Fates or Echoes or anything like that. Never bothered with it. I just didn't like feel the need to, because you could get through those games pretty easily.
Yeah.
Granted, I was playing on casual mode then because I was a casual and I didn't want my characters to die, and that's the reason.
Yeah, I still play on casual because
I don't feel like there's much need for casual mode anymore, and I know that's. I don't want it to sound like me belittling you for playing casual, because I'm not. If you play casual, that's fine. But
no, like the reason, like I would gladly, if these people were robots, I would gladly play on normal mode. But they're characters, and I like the characters, and I have horrific luck. The characters I like are typically the ones who die.
Well, I
just don't want to deal with that.
I recommend for your next playthrough trying it on classic mode. And the reason I say that is because if you do a New Game Plus playthrough, you have so many uses of Time's Pulse or Divine Pulse or whatever it's called. You have so many uses of that it's literally not an issue. Unless you choose your character, like, unless a character dies and you go, I can't be bothered to go back, then you're not going to lose any characters.
Okay.
And it means that you learn by going, okay, if I put that character there, they're going to die. Because when you use Divine Pulse, it doesn't, like, give you another chance at evasion or whatever.
No, like, the result... The first time I used it, I was like, okay, maybe this time they'll go in and they'll hit. I was like, nope, it didn't. Okay, so it will literally do this thing every time.
Yeah.
And it's not like RNG, it is, this is what's going to happen if you get Bernadetta to shoot this guy again.
Yeah.
He will murder her. He will dodge somehow, and he will kill her with one shot.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So you learn through that, like, what you should and shouldn't be doing, and I think it just makes you a better Fire Emblem player. Not like it's a competitive game that you need to be, like, super good at or whatever.
And maybe at that point, when I'm better at it, I'll be able to play Wargroove, because I can't get past the 3rd level.
That's the other game I stopped playing.
Another
It has been
one
sat on my Switch the entire time. I really like the style of it. I really like where it's going. And I can't beat the third level because it's really hard.
I should have realized back then that I just keep buying turn-based strategy games. I suck.
Instead, you're offending me, Bill. You're offending me.
In your defense, when they were saying Wargroove was going to be slightly more old schooly, so it might have been a more brutal game. Excuse me. Anyway, and so Three Houses.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that Wargroove came out the same year as Three Houses. If I'd actually played more of Wargroove, I wouldn't feel so bad. But it's just like Three Houses just feels better to play. I'm successful at it. I'm not successful at Wargroove. I will probably choose to play Fire Emblem over Wargroove.
Yeah, but I in the run up to this game coming out, they were releasing like a lot of information about the game, to the point where I, after playing the game, decided just to look through what people were saying about it. And there were videos that came out before the game released and before the leaks started coming out that exactly predicted who the Flame Emperor was. I think if people can do that from the information that you've released too much information.
I still think that my idea for the Flame Emperor is far more satisfying.
I don't remember what your idea was.
That it depended on what house you were with.
I guess that doesn't make sense in the overall context of the story, though, because the story is, from what I understand, Black Eagles and Blue Lions stories are very interwoven, and Golden Deer are just off doing their own thing.
Yeah, knowing an entire story arc, I'm like, okay, I understand why it will always be this way. But coming at it from the very beginning, and then at that point being like, you know what, it'd be really neat if this is the way that it worked. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so, but in the run up to this game, I basically didn't know anything about it. I chose to ignore everything that they were releasing about the game because I knew I was going to buy it. I didn't need to be more hyped up because it's a new Fire Emblem game, so obviously I'm going to buy it. And I'm really glad that I did that because it felt like a very, very blind experience. And I don't know that I've had that with a Fire Emblem game before.
Awakening, maybe,
but I wasn't invested in Awakening then. And even then I sort of knew because I remember Bill and Yokorama were talking about it on an episode of Permadeath one time. I knew that there were going to be units that were born because you paired up 2 units or whatever. So, I didn't know anything about whether there was going to be second generation characters or not. Hadn't heard anything about it, didn't know what to expect, so...
Yeah. I'll tell you, so they basically added 2 things to this game, right? They added the Divine Pulse.
No.
And the most useful thing, useless thing, battalions.
Battalions are only useful in very certain circumstances.
Most of the time, they didn't seem to work.
If you look at old footage of the game, battalions were supposed to replace the weapon triangle. Because if you look at the first trailer for Three Houses, they have the battalions making formations that you would then attack with, and certain formations would be better against other formations.
Okay.
But they had to get rid of that for some reason. I assume it didn't work.
Yeah.
And they needed to release the game. But they never put the weapon triangle back in. So
I did wonder why things weren't working quite as well as I thought they would.
Yeah, because I still play that game as if it's got the weapon triangle in it. It's just ingrained into me.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that the weapon triangle wasn't in it until I never got the tutorial saying, here's what the weapon triangle is. But yeah, I think it's just a fun game to experiment with as well, in terms of teaching whichever units to do what. You don't have to have Claude end up being a Wyvern Archer. You can make him do something completely different if you want to. And I think that's cool, because it means that it's replayable in a way where you can do something completely different and see what builds work for certain characters. Like, obviously, not every character is going to be the best at everything, because they have... If you...
Base stats.
Yeah, they have stats, and when you are leveling up their skills in the classroom, they have, like, a blue arrow that points up next to it if they're good at it, and a red arrow that points down if they're bad at it. So...
Or the stars if they're, like, not good at it now, but they'd be very good at it if you taught them it.
It's just, it's a very, very... what's the word? I don't know what the word is.
Customizable.
Customizable experience, which I enjoy a lot, because I cannot tell you the amount of times that I've gone in another Fire Emblem game, like, oh, Alm's the Lord, so he'll be, using a sword and whatever. Celica's a mage, so she'll just be using Ragnarok or whatever. And then you get all these side characters that come in as, like, Myrmidons, and then you're just gonna keep them on that sort of sword infantry user path when you could reclass units before. I just didn't. I'd never thought to. But it's made it very easy to see, what your options are in this one.
I do wish that the house leader and a couple, like one other dude, weren't always so OP for me, because I wanted Byleth to be MVP for the morale boost, but Dimitri or it's been so long since I played, I can't remember names. Black-haired guy who I turned into a ninja.
Black-haired guy who you turned into a ninja.
Yeah, he's like the super he's like, we shouldn't trust anyone, I'm going to work on my own, I'm always going to train, that guy.
Sorry, what? You broke up.
the guy the loner guy in
Felix.
Blue Lions, Felix. They would always steal MVP from me, and they'd get a morale boost or whatever.
But no one else would, yeah.
But no one else would. I'm like, oh, for God's sake! I was trying so hard with Byleth. I made him do everything, but they happened to do slightly more damage or more kills or whatever it is that they calculated on. I'm like, ah. So that is both my favourite thing and my least favourite thing that seems to happen.
I mean, you could just not use them.
I could, but they're so good. And also recovering materials to rebuild the... they're not artifacts, they're not legendary weapons, whatever.
Oh my god, what are they called?
Whatever. You have to have umbral steel to repair them, and you said that you had to fight monsters in the planning thing, and they would just never drop it for me. The things, because I didn't realise you had to attack them all, break them from all four sides, which is just a pain in the ass. It's just not worth it. So that was kind of unfortunate, but yeah, I very much enjoyed it.
Another thing that I really like about Fire Emblem Three Houses, before we move on, because I'm sure Bill's just running out of patience for this conversation.
Keep going!
I love the characters in Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah.
I think
there's a good blend in every house that you're like, I want to steal that person.
I like any work of fiction that pits their fans against each other and picking a side. I love it.
It feels like Dimitri and Claude are sort of there together. Everyone's like, yeah, I like Dimitri and Claude. But if you like Edelgard, you're the enemy.
It's the pretty boys, isn't it?
Thing is that there is one character in the game who's a bit of a womanizer. He's in the Blue Lion's house.
Yeah.
Bit of a womanizer. And the way that you recruit him is, usually a unit will be you need to be good at dexterity and heavy armor. For some reason, that was one of them. You need to be good at dex and heavy armor, and then I'll think about joining your house. You need to be good at magic and strength, or whatever. Yeah. And there's one character, his name is Sylvain, where if you just play female Byleth and you ask him to join your house, he just will.
I did not know that.
I think that's really great.
It makes total sense.
It does, yeah. So you don't. If you play as female Byleth, you have a bit of an advantage because
you have a free character.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's really
because I was just dicking around with the chat options or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I accidentally pressed recruit on the first conversation I'd had with him, and he went, "Yeah, sure, be there tomorrow at your class." I was like, "What?"
Like, I saw there was someone did some artwork of basically Golden Deer House having everyone in it because everyone wanted to be with Claude. I don't know if it is possible to recruit literally everyone so that the other houses are decimated.
Can recruit if there's
Like,
some
if you were to
debate
get
as
your
to
stats
who
right.
there's some debate as to who Claude's retainer is. But you can't recruit the house leader, and you can't recruit their retainer. So you can't recruit Hubert, Edelgard, Dimitri, Dedu, Claude, and either Hilda or Lorenz. I don't know which one it is.
Okay.
I think it might be
Because I feel like
Lorenz.
that might make some later game stuff a lot a lot easier. If there's not a cap on how many people you're able to recruit.
Well, here's the thing. You know how you earn... Oh, God, what are they called? You earn, like, points. I've not played the game in a while.
That you use at the Saint statues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You earn those points, and then you can either spend them on the Saint statues, or you can just hoard them.
Yeah.
If you hoard them and keep them for a New Game Plus playthrough, you can automatically level up anything that you had in your previous playthrough.
Yeah.
So, immediately when I start a new playthrough now, my professor level is at A. So I get maximum actions.
Yeah.
And then if I have a certain character in mind, I can go, right, they want me to learn about swords, so I'm just going to level up my sword to, like, S rank with those points or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's easier in subsequent playthroughs. I don't think I recruited anyone apart from Sylvain in my first playthrough.
Yeah, I recruited Bernadetta and Dorothea in my first playthrough, and that was just happenstance.
But then I had to kill a bunch of Blue Lion students, and it made me feel bad, so...
Oh, yeah. I look forward to playing it again. And,
yeah, look out for me streaming it, because I'm going to make Bill watch, so he can see...
He's not patient enough to play it, he'll be patient enough to watch it.
Yeah, you just got to watch me...
There we go.
Plan. Meticulously plan.
And I was playing Black Eagles, too, so, it all works out.
Perfect. You're the enemy, though.
Yeah, like I said, I think the game's cool. I think it's really well made. I think it's an awesome game. There's a lot I really like about it. I just know my limits. I guess I didn't know my limits that bought it, but like I'm starting to learn to like understand. Like Billy, just because everyone else says this game is great doesn't mean you have to play it. Even if you agree it's great. I wouldn't. Yeah, you know what's funny? Actually, Ken Rush, you bring up Bloodborne. I actually think, like, how I said, like, Valkyria Chronicles 1 is, like, the only term I think Bloodborne is the only From Software game I actually like. I've learned this because I don't like Sekiro, and I played a lot of Dark Souls 1, don't feel like beating it. I think I just like Bloodborne. I think I'm just a Bloodborne fan. Like
I've got Code Vein sitting on my desk to try.
What?
I'm looking forward to giving that a go.
And that's why I say From Software fan.
Yeah.
Because I love Neo. I think I like this
Neo. I will pick up this month's PS Plus game is Neo.
Yes, and right now it's open beta for Neo 2 this weekend, so I'm gonna check that out when we're done recording. I think I'm more of a fan of the Souls likes that have come from the Souls existence than playing the majority of the From games. People beat the shit out of me for that, but like Bloodborne, I think is their best game and that I've played and speaks to my sensibilities. But then like I like Neo more than Sekiro. Like Sekiro. Sorry.
Well, I mean, you seem to like Yakuza more than you like GTA.
There we go.
I mean, I don't think there's really that comparison.
Well, Yakuza was supposed to be the Japanese GTA. I guess it's also the people who are like, hey, Saints Row.
I like
that they like the likes than they do the...
Yeah. I like GTA, though.
No.
I just never really talked about 5. Was that like before our time?
I don't think so. I feel like, to be honest, I always
Five's
feel
always
like that game
been
came
around.
out last year because they're always re-releasing it in some form or another.
Except on Switch.
Why is it not on Switch? That's the real question.
I honestly don't know.
There's got to be a reason for it, but I don't know what that reason is.
Hookers.
I don't know about that one, but okay.
I'm just like, why would they put, like, what is in a Rockstar game that is not in LA Noire, but is in GTA?
I mean,
I think
there
there's
is
sex workers in
fully
Illinois.
blown nudity in LA Noire, so...
Yeah, but it's crime corpses, not sexy.
I mean...
I don't know.
What do you want to talk about, Bill?
Control. Oh my god, that was a funny.
Yeah,
it's all about Control. I love Control. Control was a new game from Remedy Entertainment. Is it Remedy Entertainment? Or is it Remedy Games? Fuck if I know.
Something.
Sorry, Sam Lake. I fucked. I was right. From Remedy.
I mean, you said both of them, and then you're like, "Yeah, I was right."
From Remedy Entertainment. Well known for.
You started with Remedy Games,
yeah.
So you weren't right.
I think I said Remedy Entertainment first. Roll back the tape,
Games.
Listeners, and if Bill was right, hashtag Bill was right to the Permadeath Podcast Twitter at Permadeath Podcast, hashtag Bill was right.
Hashtag by Metroid.
Hashtag nah. Put it on Switch. Yeah, the new game from people who are well known for Max Payne 1 and 2, for Alan Wake, for lesser Quantum Break. This is their new game, and boy oh boy, I was not expecting it to be so tightly tied to Alan Wake. What a pleasant surprise for this Alan Wake fan, for Remedy Entertainment to just basically say, hey, we hear you. We know you want Alan Wake 2. We get it, but we're not making it right now. But here's a whole lot of answers to Alan Wake and its many mysteries that were laid upon you in the original game and its 2 DLCs. And not only that, but we're going to put out an Alan Wake DLC. Wow, thanks. I love this game. I wasn't sure, because I love Remedy's stuff. I really liked, I never played Max Payne 2, but I played Max Payne 1 with my dad. I really liked Max Payne, what I played of that one. And I love Alan Wake, one of my favorite games from last gen. I think it's an interesting game to play nowadays. I think if I recommended someone to play Alan Wake, they would have the same reaction to my friend who just tried to play Alan Wake, and that is, like, the gameplay is not bad, but it hasn't aged in a way that, like, feels meaty anymore. I don't think the game feels bad to play personally, but I've seen that sentiment shared, and so I just have to take in the feedback that I've seen and use it in future recommendations and say, hey, maybe you might bounce off the gameplay of this. But I think Remedy finally cracked their nut, cracked the code in Control. They've always been a third-person shooter company. They always have liked incorporating weird ideas and mechanics. Now in Wake, you would shine a flashlight on a ghost, and that would make it vulnerable for you to shoot.
That's Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm playing Luigi's Mansion 3, and I'm like, man, Remedy stole that shit. So it's just instead of sucking him in a vacuum, I'm putting a 44 in his head. So it's this is their, like, hey, we have nailed our traversal, we have nailed our shooting feel, we have kind of nailed a lot of the things that we have gotten wrong or gotten right or over the years, and combined elements from Max Payne, Alan Wake, and Quantum Break all in this package that is, like, tailor-made for me in a way. I really love Lynchian-inspired stuff, and it's not just Lynchian-inspired. Like, if you like X-Files, if you like Fringe, if you like that kind of, like, sci-fi FBI quirky type of stuff that has existed on serial television over the last 20 years. There's a lot to kind of dig into and like out of Control, a lot of homages and references to Lynchian stuff, and just a lot of general touches on Remedy's past. And in a story that in Remedy fashion really doesn't make any sense. Which is what I've come to expect, is that they don't really ever really tell you a linear story. Like Alan Wake really doesn't have an ending, but I think its final moments are really memorable and makes me appreciate it more. This is kind of the same case, except in this case they let you loose to kind of keep playing afterwards, implying future iterations. So it's interesting for them to kind of leave off in that direction where they've never done before. But yeah, I don't really know how to really talk about Control necessarily, because it's a third-person shooter. Like, it's very not surprising, I think, in its gameplay. Like, I think for Control, like, if you look at it on the outset, it's like, wow, okay, that just, like, controls, or looks like any third-person action game, really. You're levitating, you're throwing rocks, you're shooting a gun.
I bounced off the game hard.
I know. I feel sorry for that because I hyped it up.
I feel bad because, like, contextually, I would love this game.
Yeah.
But I still am not good at third-person games.
Sure.
Thinking that you're in cover and then you're not sucks. Basically, I got to the first boss and then a little bit beyond. I just gave up.
There's problems in here for sure. This is a game that I don't think is a perfect game. Like
if it wasn't for the combat and once I fixed the first generator or whatever it was, and suddenly everyone was freed. I spent 20 minutes, then lost because I couldn't see where the waypoint marker essentially was for how to proceed to the next thing. So I'm backtracking through this entire place, being like, where am I supposed to go? And it's right in front of me, but not very obvious. At that point, I was just like, I'm just going to get lost, and not the fun way.
The map sucks, for sure. The map's really bad, and that's like what I've heard from even my friend who just played it too. Like, you know, like his complaints are like the map's one of the first things people go to. It's like it's really easy to get lost in that thing. It really doesn't do a good job of describing, is this room underground? Is this room above me? Like,
every
what
single floor is on the same layer. You're like,
I think let me turn the map on its side, near Automata style, which I hated that map, but Nier Automata gave you no fucking choice. So like this one, let me look at it from above like this. Sure, okay, nice layout, but I have no clue where that room is. Let me take the map and go. Whoop, let me flip it on its side and see where that dot's sitting. You know, like
Divine Beasts.
Sure, yeah. I think the 5 maps are actually pretty good.
Full 3D map.
Yeah. I think like that would help a lot of the problems out because the main point of getting lost is like I don't know where that floor is. Like, is that floor? Because this game is also a part kind of like Metroidvania in a way. I don't like to really throw that around so loosely as much as like the internet does, but like it is. You know, you get abilities.
I mean,
and things
you pick an ability and backtrack,
keys and but
like, you don't know where you're supposed to backtrack to.
But that's the thing. Is like if you see a dot on a map and it's like, well, since this game does have Metroidvania elements, like, I don't know if I just can't get there yet, or if I'm just dumb and I'm missing the door, or I'm missing the floor it's on. Like, there are moments where like I got lost and I'm going, well, maybe I just can't do the side quest yet. And then I went back to it, and like 10 hours later, I'm like, well, I don't think it ever guided me to this side quest. Maybe I could have done it. And it turns out I just missed the fucking entrance like a moron. So like, the map's pretty bad. I think some of the boss fights are tuned a little too high, in a way that makes no sense, I think, with the general difficulty of the game. General enemies, the game has a mod system, which I actually really like. A lot of people don't, but I actually liked it. I just think the management of them is bad. I think you get so many mods that going through dupes and getting rid of them is so slow and obnoxious that I can understand why someone would want to bounce off that system entirely and not utilize it. I spent a lot of time like getting like legendary mods and buffing my guns out to the point where headshot damage, I had like a 300% buff on headshot damage with my one gun, so I could just hit the weak spot on enemies and drop them in one shot if they were normal enemies, 2 shots if they were elite enemies, and it made the game really trivial, but I loved it because I did that. Like, I made that build.
Yeah. Like, it's trivial because you made it that way.
Yeah. I wanted to just fuck shit up because I would get on boss fights that were like, this feels like they tried to like make a Souls or Nightfall. You know what? No, not a Souls boss. Some of the boss fights, particularly one of the side boss fights, where you go into this refrigerator and it takes you into like this pocket dimension, and it's just giant Nightfall Destiny looking boss, and it's fucking so hard. And it has phases and weak spots, and I'm like, wow, this is really impressive, first of all, what this is in here, but this is way too hard. Like, I'm not equipped for this in this game, so I went and built my guy out, and really, I fuck bosses up pretty bad for that, but I don't think the difficulty curve is fair. Even if it gives you some tools to break it, I broke my mods. Like, I shouldn't have, like, near 400% headshot damage.
The difficulty curve in the early game is nice slope. You hit first boss, it's a wall, it's a cliff.
Yeah,
and you have to suddenly learn how to use a new ability in a boss fight where you can die super quick, and it's not actually clear when you're able to hit this guy because he dodges everything. I was like, yeah,
you're not alone on that one. That's a pretty common thing, and I've like there's some later game bosses too. Like even after you're kitted out, like that just feel like unfair in some ways. I mean, I like this is a game I was going to recommend to my dad. because he likes Alan Wake and everything, and I'm like, I was doing his boss fight, and I'm like, I can no longer recommend this to my dad. I feel like I would be punishing him, because I know he would get stuck on this boss, and it's just too hard.
It goes to the increasing list of games that I would gladly watch a Let's Play of.
Sure.
Because I am interested enough in the world and what's going on, I just don't
on a non-gameplay level, which I enjoyed. Like, the boss fight sucked and the map sucks. But like what they built with the Oldest House is so cool to me, and like it's why it's so memorable to me, and why like after I beat it, I'm like, wow, that might be my game of the year. I'll see how everything shakes out. I at the time I hadn't played Judgment, and I'm really hot on Judgment. Is
I played Shenmue 3 yet either.
Yeah, I probably won't this year actually. Just looking at schedule wise, Shenmue 3, spiritual goatee. The Oldest House is the Federal Bureau of Control's base, and the Federal Bureau of Control investigates altered world events, which are these events caused by these objects of power that create these supernatural moments in the United States of America and around the world. And they contextualize Alan Wake as an altered world event, which when you're playing Alan Wake, you never know this, you never think about this because Control hasn't existed. But seeing that, like, wow, look at that makes sense. And then like just the way that they retrofit Alan Wake's lore into Control is so impressive to me. It goes beyond a simple Easter egg, which is what I thought it was going to be when I found the first lore document for Alan Wake. But they do a lot of Alan Wake stuff in the game, and they contextualize it within the Oldest House and this Federal Bureau of Control. And the way that Remedy tells their stories is really goofy in a way that I love, that they've kind of carved out their style. They use a lot of FMV, real life actors, to present to you characters you might not meet in the game, like the director, and Doctor God damn it.
That's not his name.
How did I forget his
the
fucking
lead
name?
Scientist guy.
God damn it. He's my favorite character in the game. What the fuck is his name? God damn it.
Dr. Stevens.
I gotta look it up because Dr. Darling. And like you just see this character through these like instructional science videos throughout the entire game, and his like descent into like figuring out like just how crazy the Federal Bureau of Control is and everything that's going on and what the director is doing, and unraveling the story of the Oldest House and the Federal Bureau of Control is kind of the plot of that game, more so than Jesse's story. Because like if you're looking to get a fulfilling story for your protagonist, I don't really think it's in here, and I think that could be a flaw for some people. But
I honestly assumed that it was a Beyond Two Souls thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not really too fussed about this because
Well,
I've seen.
what's funny
Beyond
is
Two Souls.
like kind of like in a way, this isn't a spoiler. It's laid out to you in the chapter 1 of the game, but like you. I think they go meta with it. I think they're going meta with it. Polaris is like this but like this like guiding spirit that is with the protagonist, and like she directs her remarks to Polaris, but she says you, and she like is like talking to you. I feel like Polaris is the player, but yeah, there's some really interesting, weird fourth wall breaking meta stuff going on in there, and a lot of references to their old material, and just the way the house moves and shifts and the variety of environments inside this building is really cool and impressive, and a lot of the side content is really neat. And there's a moment in the game, the Ashtray Maze, that is one of the coolest moments I played this year, and it was worth the build up for me alone for that moment, because they go big time Alan Wake in there, and it just made me so happy. I was really happy playing this game because it's like I wasn't expecting to be fed so much Alan Wake. So love it, absolutely love this game. If you like Alan Wake and you haven't played it, play the fucking game. That's all I can really say to you. If for some reason you've missed it and you love Alan Wake, you can't miss Control. You can't. I order you. You must play it.
Is Control a PlayStation exclusive?
No.
Okay.
It's on
because Quantum Break was Xbox,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Remedy broke
And
free of Microsoft.
I know that Alan Wake was on Xbox, so I was like, well, it's a bit weird. But okay.
Remedy broke free of Microsoft, and they actually just got the publishing rights back for Alan Wake. Just this past month or so. So exciting times ahead for Remedy.
That's becoming a 10-year anniversary coming up. I'm sure.
Oh, you know what? Honestly, probably not far off. Give me Alan Wake 2, little bastards.
Remastered.
Let's cross it off my list. Control. All right, I have 2 things left on my list.
I have one.
I have Luigi, and I have Outer Worlds. What are we starting with?
I feel like I have not played a single thing on my own.
That's fine.
I don't have anything.
That feels good, though, doesn't it?
A little, because it means I don't actually have to remember anything that I need to talk about.
Yeah.
But
I also have Astral Chain on my list.
oh yeah, Astral Chain. That was the one that I thought of because you were talking about suddenly feeling like things were trivial. I'm like, there was a moment where I hit that in Astral Chain.
Should I buy Astral Chain?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll buy it.
Cool, next game.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we need to convince you very hard to buy games, though.
I'll just buy the damn thing. I'm gonna buy
Astral
Daemon X
Chain.
Machina.
Astral Chain has like weird Dynasty Warriors feeling things of it,
Whoa.
like the combat just being zen.
Whoa.
Like sometimes it is like frustrating and you need to actually pay attention, but it's a lot of like repetitive action.
Buy that shit right now.
It's ridiculously good.
Yeah.
When I
it's
first got it, I was super not into it because it wasn't Fire Emblem, so I didn't really care. But
it does have my Persona problem of you unlock like new legions throughout the game, and obviously you spec out because there's skill trees for every single one, and so your first two you're super powered up, they have bonus attack and all this lot skills, and then the rest just don't, and they don't come pre-leveled up. You've got to level them up again.
I really did not like the last couple of legions. I didn't like the Beast Legion. I really didn't like the Axe Legion.
No.
And aside
Like,
from
they
when
just-
it told me to use them, I never used them.
I only used them in combat accidentally when I hit the wrong direction button. Because I primarily used sword and bow.
Yeah. What the fuck is the fifth one? Oh, arm.
Yeah, I used only when required. It was literally just sword and bow. I didn't expect to like the game as much as I did, even though it had a lot of numbers, and I'm like, I'm going to really enjoy this game.
I thought I'm really going to enjoy this game, but before it came out, I was thinking if this is longer than like 15 hours, I just don't have time. I just do not have time for a platinum game that overstays its welcome. That being said, I've only finished one platinum game before, and that wasn't. I don't think that game was very long. Let's look up how long to beat.
But yeah, it comes to about 12 to 18 hours,
So
which is a fair spread, but it depends on how much of the side stuff you're doing.
The other game I played was Vanquish, and apparently that game is about 6 hours long. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like the idea of Astral Chain in like short bursts, but when it got towards the end where you sort of like in a bit of a slummy area.
Yeah.
I was doing every single side quest in case I could get my hands on. I thought, I want to get all of the red shards. I wanna clean up.
Yeah, I had moments where I'm like, hey, this place has a lot of side quests. I'm gonna do them, and that sort of slum town was a lot of time lost because pretty much everyone has something to do, and I had to say, look, I'm not gonna do it all. I just can't. I'm renting.
I will be honest though, I would go back to it. I would go back to that game and play it again.
I would too, and I would play it on the ranked mode.
I didn't expect to say that because I didn't think I would like it as much as I do. But I think I don't think you should, I think the story is garbage. Just take the story out of the equation.
It's typical anime craziness / crap.
Yeah,
and it's nice for interesting cutscenes and set pieces, but that's all it's there for.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy the story, and I'd just phase out every time a story beat happened.
Mm-hmm.
The only a cool part of the game I thought was the very end of it, in terms of the story.
Yeah, like when the plot suddenly the plot is not really there until the last 2, maybe 3 chapters, and then suddenly all the plot happens, and it's kind of cool.
But I loved it. I thought it was fun to play. like the fluidity of the combat was very, very impressive, which I was surprised by considering you have so many options for combat with things that you can do with your, what are they called? Legions. Things that you can do with your legions, things that you can do on your own, and then you get the skill trees and stuff, and it's just like a very diverse menu of things that you can do. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you could do the bare minimum, like speccing out. I mean, at some point, you're gonna have to like increase people's attack and defense and things, but you can beat the game using only features that are introduced to you in the first combat tutorial, or you can go absolutely crazy and spec out with mods and skill trees, and all this other stuff that would obviously be much more useful when you replay the game on the platinum difficulty, which includes ranking, where you'll be given score points for doing certain things. It's like, okay, then you will have to be much better at the game with things like combos and skills, rather than just shoot and stab a dude. And I really want to see what the game's like in that mode.
Yeah. I think, Bill, you would love it. Genuinely.
I would consider trying to 100% it, but then there's 2 side quests that I refuse to do towards the end of the game.
Oh my god, there was one side quest that was like, fucking balance these boxes and walk across.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
And there's motion
Fuck
controls
that.
on top of. It's like very slight motion controls and also stick controls. Yeah, no. And then the other one that got me is, I suck at these, the sliding block puzzles.
Oh, the thing with the buses
Yeah,
where you have to clear
there
the
was like a
road, yeah.
traffic clearing thing, and I was like, I am not good at these. I cannot do it. And because of the way that it was being solved, where you stand as you are solving it is also important. I was just like, I did the first one, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Piss
Yeah.
off.
Kind of same.
Clear it out yourself. It's basically the same reason why I'll never 100% a Yakuza game, because I can't learn Mahjong and Shogi.
Why not?
Because I'm a scrub. I'm a scrub who doesn't understand Mahjong unless it's got pretty girls and it's solitaire.
Genuinely, though.
Yeah.
You would love it, Bill.
You will.
I bet it looks. It looks like something I would like. I was interested in it. I'm glad you guys played it, so you could tell me it's good, because I trust you.
Next on my list of things that look like they should be interesting but not necessarily good is Demon X Machina.
I want to get it.
Good / mixed things about
Yeah.
it, so I want to actually.
It sounds like one of those
I really
sevens that I
want-
would like.
I really wanted that game to be successful, because you could just tell the director fucking loved that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to play it.
Well, he loved it enough to take literally every comment from the demo and rework stuff. So I'm like, okay, they've clearly
Reading
given it some work.
threads on it of people playing it who say, like, if you like mech games and you like upgrading equipment and getting equipment, you'll love it. I'm like, well, okay, I guess I like that. I'll buy it. And I actually like
Do you
the
like
last
that,
demo.
or do you just...
Yeah,
do
don't you just think you like
that?
That I like. That I know I like. Getting loot, I know I like.
Yeah, loot.
And
Loot's
mechs. I like mechs.
I don't feel like that game's done particularly well.
I think it is done about as well as anyone would have expected, considering it's a super niche thing of mech game.
Yeah.
They don't tend to do great, or not. Like, they don't tend to,
Sure.
fly off the shelves and be super successful. But in the context of mech games, I've heard it's done pretty well.
I'll buy
But
it
yeah,
for
Astral
you.
Chain.
Not for you guys. I meant for the developer.
I mean, you can buy it for me if you want.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I think in terms of Astral Chain, there's not like a lot to say about it, because it's one of those, like, there's meat to it, but it's not meat that you want to really discuss, because it's just like, oh, I really like it where that you get your legion to run around in a circle and then it chains the enemy to the floor. That's really interesting.
Yeah, like it's just that the systems in the game are satisfying to perform, and like sync attacks. Every now and again, your backpack flashes blue. You push a button and you do increased damage.
I feel like I never did that right.
I feel like I had like a 50% success rate. But when I did it, it was like, yes, do it.
It's like a more satisfying Warriors game.
Yeah.
It's better than whatever the Warriors game was with the open world.
What?
It's better than that.
9?
Fucking Dynasty Warriors 9.
11? 9? Yeah.
Dynasty Warriors 9 fooled me into thinking I liked it. Dynasty Warriors 9 was manipulative.
I understand.
Fuck, I
I
hate
feel
that
that
game.
way about a lot of games.
Only complaint about Astral Chain is only a half complaint. There are 2 or 3 forced stealth sections.
Oh god,
But they're
stealth
not
sections.
but they're not.
Fuck you,
But they're not forced stealth sections, because if you get caught, you can just say, "I'm going to murder you," and you just attack the guy who saw you, knock him out, and then the stealth section
like
resumes.
the 4 stealth sections in Spider-Man where
No. So you can
punch
choose
myself in
to
the
try
face.
and do. Again, I assume for platinum rank things, you can choose to restart and try and do it all stealth, or you can you get caught and the guy's like, "Hey, do you want to run away or fight him off?" You can just choose to fight him off, and then the stealth resets. And then
I
you
really
carry
tried
on.
to do it the way that the
Yeah.
game clearly
I
intended
tried
me
a fair
to.
few.
I can't do it.
And-
I just think the stealth sucks. I think stealth in most video games sucks, to be honest, but
Yeah,
in
unless a
Astral
game
Chain
is
it was
designed
particularly bad.
to be a stealth game, like your game is a stealth game.
I think Skyrim is the only one that I've liked it in that's not been like a stealth game, and that's because I had like, what was it, level 100
Level 100.
sneak, and I'm just
Yeah.
invisible all the time, so
And you do a crazy amount of damage when you're crouched around.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So yeah, it's only a minor thing, but you can work around it by killing dudes. Astral
Play
Chain?
it, Bill.
Sweet, I'm gonna.
Good.
So Outer Worlds, Ken Ross.
Yeah.
What
I'm
you
gonna
think?
go and get a coffee.
Is someone at the door, or
What's up?
is someone at the door, or punching their mic, or something?
I'm like tapping on my desk, like
Oh, okay. Because it's coming through the mic.
yeah, I see it
As
on my
a-
waveforms.
as a rattle. But yeah,
So we've been playing Outer Worlds. You might be sorry, I cleared my throat. You might be a bit further than me by a little bit.
I am a planet ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
At current estimates.
What are you thinking so far?
I generally am enjoying it. Again, there's a lot of subsystems that I suck at and am just overwhelmed by. Namely, modding stuff, tinkering. I feel like I'm not getting enough stuff that suits what my style would
Sure.
be, and so I don't include it. Literally, the only thing I've done following yours, and I feel really bad. Can't remember who it was. Basically, I made one of my pistols a plasma pistol,
Yeah.
and now everything dies. Oh, and I made a hunting rifle a paralysis shock rifle. That is literally all I've done in terms of modding, and probably all
That's
I
all
ever
you
will
really
do.
need to do, to be honest.
Yeah. It's been the last of these type of games that I played, probably same for a lot of people, it's Fallout 4. And I didn't really play a massive amount of it. So all of the stats and things, I feel like I'm speccing wrong, but there is no wrong.
Yeah. And you
So-
can always respec to on your ship. Custom
True. Yeah. I'm enjoying the general gameplay loop, but all of the RPG
bits.
stuff,
Granular
basically,
stuff.
yeah, I feel like I'm doing badly, or not, like perks and things. Basically, I'm just picking random stuff at this point. I don't feel like I'm making the most of what the game is clear. Like, a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, look at this game that does these things so well." I'm like, I'm not doing any of that stuff at all. But like missions and companion stuff, I'm just like, yes.
Yeah.
A mission can be done in like 20 minutes. I can play a bit before work, and I can feel satisfied.
I actually think it's a very accessible RPG in that way. Like, I think that stat stuff is there, and like, there's a lot of builds you could do. Actually, you know what? The more I think about it, I'm not actually sure how many. Like, you could, like, what I want to do actually after I beat this playthrough is I want to do a second file, and I want to just put points in melee and no points anything else, except maybe dodge and block. Like, I want to be dumb as a rock, and I want to have, like, no. I just want to see what it's like to play a maxed melee character in a game that seems very gun heavy.
Yeah, the melee seems useless. Like, I'll hit something with a hammer that technically has a higher damage output than my gun, and it does nothing.
It's interesting to try to get in there. But maybe, spec'd out full brute like,
maybe
it'll work. But I think, but in general, in terms of, like, cracking into an RPG like this, that initially making my character seem pretty overwhelming. Like, I was like, oh man, I am very indecisive.
Do I want to be a scientist?
Yeah, I'm indecisive.
A musician?
But as I've played, like, my ranged weapon stuff pretty high, my charm stuff's pretty high, and then taking out companions to, like, supplement the skills that I don't really have points in, like hacking and security, and I never really devoted points to that. But all you have to do is bring out, if you want to hack something, just bring out Max and Sam, and your hack ability will be like 110, and it's like, all right, I'll hack whatever the fuck I want.
I understand why it's not a thing, but when your companion, because all your companions boost a stat or a couple of stats.
Yeah, 3. I think 3 a person.
It doesn't unlock the
perk. Yeah,
the perk for it. It's like, okay,
I wish it did.
With Max, my hack is 85, but my own hack is only like 62.
Yeah,
I don't unlock the next level thing. It feels like,
I guess
it should be available.
I think it should, and I wish it did. But I guess maybe I understand where they'd come from a balance perspective of where it's like, you didn't specialize in that, so you can pass the skill checks with the skill, but we're not going to let you get the bonuses from those because you didn't devote the time to, like, put points into that. So you shouldn't get the reward of leveling, of your character being proficient in hacking. Even though every time I boost it, I'm like, man, I wish I could just have that perk for just, let me just buy this shit from the vending machine, please. Yeah. Like, please let me buy the restricted stuff. Please, 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 please. But I think in terms of, like, what you said also about missions being done, being able to be done in such a short amount of time, this is a game that I'm really appreciative of its scope. After playing so many games that, like, require so much out of you from a time perspective, and, like, I love RPGs, I love them to death, but I don't beat a lot of RPGs because of the amount that it asks of me. And, like, I still haven't played The Witcher, even though I like The Witcher. I played a little bit of The Witcher on PC. That's a game I really desperately want to play. I want to play that fucking game, but it requires a lot of my time, and a lot of my, like,
I don't know.
I don't have it.
What is the total time for Outer Worlds at the minute? Is it 40 hours? Like that? 40, 60?
How long to beat? If you just rush the main story, it's like 10 hours. If you're doing apparently main and extra, it's around 18. If you're a completionist, it's around 30.
Okay,
which is, like, perfect.
So I'm probably somewhere in between the
that's
main and extras and completionist.
That's perfect.
Because it means, hey, you've got I'm going to say 40. It's not 40. You got a 40-hour game. Yeah, that's a bit of a ball ache, but it doesn't matter if I could be making progress in 20-minute chunks.
It's a game.
It's like, I have 20 minutes. I don't have to commit at 2 hours of my evening to to feel like I've made progress.
Because for me, like, I have, like, an internal clock when it comes to, like, okay, when I start getting exhausted of a game and its systems is, like, by hour 40, I kind of, like, I feel like I've experienced everything the gameplay has to offer, and now you're just telling us the rest of your story, and now you're boring me. Because, like, the story's fine in a lot of these games that are system heavy, but, like, unless you're heavily dedicated to your narrative, like I get bored of playing the game because you're making me do fights now that are like I'm like maxed out. I've seen everything. Yeah. Like, there's no point to me. Like, you need to end your game at a certain point. And, like, to me, the Outer Worlds, like, I feel right now I'm about 17 hours in, according to my save file, and it's like I can feel another 10 hours of me playing this game, like another, like, 2 long sessions of me sitting down on a weekend playing this game, and I could feel myself feeling satisfied with where I'm at systems-wise, and, like, being like, nice. I got to experience an RPG in half the time one of these games would usually let me do that. And feel like there's space to replay it in certain ways, even though I probably won't.
Or continue playing at the moment.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, I want to do my companion quests, or
I think
clear out my side quest file.
I think like one of the big things with Mass Effect Andromeda that made that game 10 times worse, on top of it already being a really rushed product, is that its open world areas were just too much. And I think for the next Mass Effect game, I think BioWare should take a look at what they did with Outer Worlds, because Outer Worlds is the template of Mass Effect 1 and 2, and 3, for that matter. 3 was a little bit bigger in scope. But, like, here's a planet. You're on that planet. That planet's not the size of fucking Skyrim.
A planet.
That planet is a little self-contained area that includes a city, that includes some side camps. You do that stuff. You leave that planet. You're done there forever. You're not picking up collectibles. You're not fucking, raising a planetary threat level. You're not grinding materials. You're not doing all this shit that, like, what is the actual point of this? Is it serving the game, or would you just put it on there because Ubisoft does it? So, like, that's
like
this
the zones are a healthy size, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you will go to a planet multiple times in different spaces, so you're like, okay, I know what the state of this planet is, but now I'm, rather than being in Edgewater, I'm in
I forget the name of that.
And it's definitely a weird experience knowing that this sort of game has, like Skyrim and Fallout, is, hey, here's this massive world, off you go. And it's not actually that. It's a chunk of space with a reasonable amount of stuff to do in it without being overwhelming, and then you go to the next zone. I'm like, still getting used to it, but I appreciate it a great deal.
When I say
I'm just not lost.
What I'm saying about bigger RPGs too, I think actually the more I think about it, like Bethesda, I think is less guilty of what I'm complaining about the more I think about it than, say, like these like pseudo RPGs from Ubisoft, where like Assassin's Creed Odyssey is like 9,000 hours long, and it's like you have to chill the fuck out, like you have to relax. Or like even like a Dragon Quest 11, where I look at the thing and it's like, well, the post game's still the game, and that's like 120 hours. Like, you guys got to relax. So it's like Bethesda's like open worlds are usually not as overwhelmingly checklisty.
They're like open worlds.
Yeah, I appreciate that too.
Well, it's like Outer Worlds. They have zones with stuff to do.
Right.
It's just that rather than having to get on a spaceship to go to the next zone, you can
Yeah.
you are able to just walk to the next zone.
Everything's usually centered around those cities, and you won't feel overwhelmed unless you go into those cities and accept those quests. And even then, you don't really feel that overwhelmed. So, like, this, like, Outer Worlds condenses that even into an experience that feels more manageable and a little more. Like, it's less in scope, and, like, I know they did that because of budget, and they tried to preface that before it came out. Like, hey, guys, like, please don't expect an open world. Like, we're being published by a private division, which is 2K's lesser label, like, their indie label. Like, this isn't a game that is, has a budget behind it that you might expect out of a Fallout game. But I think, like, that works for it, and I actually hope they would stick to this design philosophy for Outer Worlds 2 and not try to go bigger, because I go bigger in maybe variety of locations that you fly to, but please don't make it a cohesive world, because it also doesn't really make sense for planet hopping either. Like, that was a downfall of Andromeda, was that, like, there's, like, so many planets, but every planet's massive, and it's like, dude, like...
And eventually they're all going to be the same.
Yeah, it's insane.
You're like, oh, here's a hot planet.
And I'm likening this...
Here's a forest planet.
I'm likening this so much to Andromeda because, to me, like, a lot of people are comparing this to Fallout, and for obvious reasons, it's so Fallout. It's hilarious. But also, it's super Mass Effect. Like even down to picking your crew leaving the ship, the UI is Mass Effect 2. Like, it is just straight out of that game. And the way you interact with your crew on your ship and the companion missions and the way everything is laid out is so BioWare that I love it. I'm so happy to have experienced that. I didn't know that going in, that I'd be getting, wow, Mass Effect as well as Fallout. Like, this is like a perfect little sandwich. So I liken it to BioWare's recent efforts the most, because that's a company that is in dire need of advice for these Western RPGs that, like, they used to be kings of. And I'm playing Outer Worlds and getting this Mass Effect vibe from it, and getting this experience where it's like, man, this is what it was like to play a good Mass Effect game for Billy Conway. Like, this is been missing since last gen for me. And I'm loving it so much because of that. Even landing on planets and meeting these people, and just the way everything plays out with your companions, with your ship, with the planet hopping, the galaxy map. I'm like, wow. Like, they didn't mention at all pre-launch that they were also heavily inspired by Mass Effect. And it's a really nice marriage of the Obsidian Bethesda style and the BioWare style. And like that's why I'm liking it so much, is that it's a nice little smaller scoped version of the things I loved about the RPGs I played last gen, all rolled up into this game that I'm playing for $1. It's beautiful.
I'm not sure how the end game actually works, but like with the context of overthrowing corporations or going with the corporations, I don't know if it is going to be something as black and white as that. Nothing seems to have been as black and white as that, but I feel all of the choices that I'm making in these missions on planets are so middle road that I am actually screwing up the entire system. And I kind of want it to all come crumbling down around me because I've been like, let's compromise.
It's interesting, yeah, because like there's like A, B, and then C like type choices.
The C,
in these
which
scenarios.
requires a little bit more extra effort that you happen to have like, oh, I found out about this person who knows this thing. Now you can work together.
I'm really conflicted on these decisions too, like because like it's a really. The way they do it, at least the way they're doing it on Monarch, I haven't seen the end of Monarch yet. I have really no clue where it's 100% going. But they'll introduce you to like somebody, and it's like, wow, I kind of like this character. But then like you find out that they're kind of like, oh man, they're trying to get the corporations back in here, and it's like a lot of people don't really want that. But then there's these people over here, and they seem to be fighting for freedom, but they also seem like they're kind of a cult, and I don't really know if I like them. And so it's like,
it's like there will be two characters to a faction essentially. One of them is an arse or an idiot. The other one is really likable.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I want to screw that faction over because the guy's a moron, but I don't want to screw this person over.
The initial Edgewater decision really had me conflicted.
Oh no, that was super easy.
The power routing, the more I thought about it, and I'm like, I could route the power to the city and help the corporation, but then these people who are creating this independent lifestyle outside get screwed. Now, these are like spoilers kind of for the beginning. It's the very first like big conflict in the game. I just want to speak to how like the choices kind of work in this game, and how you might save scum in these scenarios. I wouldn't blame you in certain instances. At least I get a feel for how the game's going to drastically change itself. But if it does at all, these long-term consequences, I haven't seen them yet. So,
no.
But like you can route the power to the city. Or route the power to the people with their camp outside, and it's like the people in the city, like there's a lot more people who live there, and like they have homes and families, and they're sick and they have medicine, and they're living their lives. But like the whole idea is like, oh, if we cut the power there and ruin Edgewater, those people will come and live in this utopia this person's building with a patch of soil, and it's like, well, yeah, the intentions are good there. But what if you can't support all these people? What if it's too many people to support? Then, you're
currently supporting about 7 people.
It's unrealistic, even though it is ideally the most noble of the, depending how you feel about corporations,
sustainable.
I guess. But so it's like, man, you know what? I have to not do that. But I think I came to a solution that I actually think was pretty ideal overall. Even for the people living outside the city, which I think like, wow, okay, that seemed like maybe the bad corporation choice if you're just looking at it on a black and white level. But once you drill down and really like think about it, like, wow, okay, like what would I really be doing to these people if I did this? Like instead of just going like, this is good, this is bad, like Paragon or Renegade from Mass Effect, where Mass Effect was very black and white. Like Mass Effect had no middle grounds or shades of gray anywhere. You're either I'm the good space cop or I'm a motherfucker. Like there was no in between in Mass Effect. So it's really interesting to encounter some of these because I haven't played too many games with decision making that does sit in the middle as often. Like my big experience with choice based RPGs is Mass Effect, and that's it. So it's,
Mass Effect or a little bit. Fallout 4 of
hey, do you side with the robots or the people? Who do you want to exterminate?
Which is again fairly black or white.
I probably go with the robots.
I don't. The thing is,
they can run fast.
I've gotten such good value out of like the Games Pass thing.
I want the robots and the man dolphins.
I don't know if I would have bought the game at full price or not.
Outer Worlds.
Hmm.
That's what you're talking about, right? Outer Worlds, not
Yeah.
not Fallout 4.
Just because I have the potential to have played.
Sure. Game Pass is a wonderful thing where it lets you try games out that it's like, man, would I have bought this full price? And then after you play it, you can evaluate and be like, maybe I wouldn't have, but I played it, and that's the beauty of this.
But then the thing is, I'm like, I played it. I would have paid full price for it. I can't justify paying full price for it now after I've played it.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy it after I beat it. Yeah, so
it's like, okay, I could, if I had money just lying around, I'd be like, okay, I enjoyed this game. I will buy it at full price rather than the 20p that Obsidian would have gotten from me playing it on Games Pass. It is a weird, weird time.
I love it. I love Game Pass. Now that it works for me on PC. If it didn't work for me, I was going to end up buying the game anyway, I think. But it's an interesting dilemma because like I paid $1 for my month of Game Pass. I'm playing this game essentially for $1, and like that feels wrong. But from everything I've heard from people in the industry who have spoken to devs who have games on Game Pass. Gerstmann from Giant Bombs, from the devs he's spoken to, so that the devs say that Microsoft makes it worth your while to put your game on Game Pass. Like you don't.
Well, you'd have to.
You have to, right? Yeah, because like it's like people are getting essentially. I mean, it's a subscription fee. Saying free is whatever, but like you're essentially getting these games for free. Like you're subscribed to a service that includes these games in mass. Like this is a lot of games available
for a minimal fee.
Yeah,
it's like what. $10
it's insane
for a month.
It's truly
at the most expensive.
It's absurd.
Which if you only play one game, it's not quite as good value. But if you're playing like 10 different games, each of them's $1.
Yeah. I mean, even subscribing for 1 month, beating the game in that month, and then just moving on, it becomes a thing of like I was gonna subscribe to Origin Access to play Anthem just to try it out. I would never pay for that game.
No, I did. It made sense to pay 10 quid to play the game rather than 60. I will do the same for Ubisoft's thing to play Legion.
Sure, I forgot about that. Good idea. Thanks for the
and
reminder.
then unsubscribe.
Although if you're gonna 100% Ubisoft game, you probably need a annual fee.
Yeah, I ain't gonna 100% it.
But
I'll probably satisfy my desire to purchase Outer Worlds by getting it for someone.
There we go.
They probably won't listen to this, but I'm not going to say who, just in case.
You got a gift coming, buddy, whoever you are. It's a good game. I'm really enjoying it. Like, it's a game I've one of the better games I played this year. It definitely has room for improvement in the sequel in a lot of ways. Like, I think, Killis, what do you think about? This is the last thing I'll talk about really with it because I want to talk about Luigi. The flaws, Kinross, that pop up. Have you accepted any of those?
I've accepted one.
What was yours?
Or two.
Was it really drastic? Because mine have all been
that I know.
Mine have all been like,
well, the first one I had
extra caustic damage for a perk point, and it's like, dude, no, I'll die.
I took that, and then I took the because I was so close to about to level up. I took the I think it wasn't caustic, it was plasma. I took the perk that reduces plasma damage.
Hey.
When I did level up, and I was like, well, technically I gained nothing from that, but I could say that I'm RPing. Like, the first one that I was offered was a fear of heights because I kept walking off cliffs.
Yeah, I didn't accept that one.
And then I didn't accept that one because I still walked off cliffs, and then it offered me one for reduced, like it's saying, you're permanently crippled. I'm like, no. Yeah. I like the idea of it. Same. It definitely allows for some customization. I was saying to Andy, I don't always understand what the debuffs actually mean. When it's like, oh, you take a hit to perception or persuasion or whatever. It's like, okay, what does that mean in terms of me playing the game? Was a bit unclear. But also, where I'm at, and where I was at fairly quickly, most of the perks that I want, I've already got.
Right.
At this point, I don't want or need any more perks for where I'm going, and I'm just taking them because the game tells me I've got to take them. So it's a system that I have made no real effort to use, because I've not been like, oh, I could really do with getting that bonus damage or whatever for headshots. I'll accept Raptidon fear or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it's the thing where it's like it really is a compromise. I think they could do they could serve with making the reward for accepting one a little better. Like a single perk.
Like if there was a list, if there was a
Sucks.
list of perks that you could only get by accepting flaws.
Sure.
Like, hey, here is
That's
a
a better
really
way.
cool perk that you can only get by accepting a flaw. I'd be like, okay,
That's a much
that
better
actually
system.
makes me consider
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, interesting. I like that idea because I do like the intention behind it because it's funny. It's like, oh, my character is like permanently concussed because I've stepped on too many like landmines and his ears are all ringing, and like that's funny. That's a funny, goofy like thing to add to my character, but like a perk point isn't worth the debuff.
And I like that it's based on what you're actually doing. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, you can, like, if you're playing D&D, you pick a flaw, and you're like, here's a flaw that you've taken. It is based on things that you are doing or that have happened to you in your playthrough.
Yeah.
Like, I have not been offered the drug addiction one because I don't use drugs.
Yeah.
But I do walk off cliffs a lot. Because it's faster.
Hell yeah, it is.
So yeah, that's basically my thoughts. I very much look forward to when it comes out on Switch and Abby can play it.
Do you think I'm gonna like it? Because I'm worried that
Yes.
I'm not gonna like it.
I think you will like it. I think that even though you're not like massive into sci-fi, like I was saying, the sci-fi stuff is there, but it is not what the game is.
It's mostly relegated to like to me, like Mass Effect's pretty hard sci-fi, and it's very reliant on its sci-fi tropes. But Outer Worlds, like, it takes place mostly on the ground on these planets, and these planets, they're just like wastelandy planets. Like they're like
you could just call them.
Yeah.
You could say it is a form of post-apocalypse. You just happen
Yeah.
to. The way that you get from one place to another
Is a
is by the
spaceship.
safety of a spaceship,
Yeah.
and then you're back into the thing. There's like very little.
There's no Krogan or
Spacey.
Asari. There's no weird alien races talking. Everyone's a human, and it's like it's
Yeah,
very
the only aliens are monsters, and you can be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, it's a death claw.
It's a big
but
rat.
It's, not.
It's a
It's
big
giant
weird lizard. It's
praying mantis."
Yeah, like for sure.
I just hope that the Switch port runs well because it's at the minute my only reliable way of playing games. So
For sure, I get that.
I don't know. We'll see in 2020, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, so far, Obsidian have said that they're very surprised with how well the port's going. They didn't expect it to work in any way, and they're surprised. And at this point, when they can say that they've got The Witcher running on the thing, even if it is like turned down to what you would
Anything is
call
possible.
low PC settings, yeah, literally anything is possible. Anything could run on this machine
I have
if
heard-
someone cared enough.
I have heard in handheld mode, The Witcher looks pretty good.
Yeah, with the shrunk screen
Yeah.
size.
I heard that
Yeah.
like it actually looks pretty nice on the handheld mode on the old Switcher. Pretty cool.
Switcher.
Yeah. Speaking of the Switch,
Luigi.
Night night.
Luigi's Mansion 3 just came out. Hot off the presses. Been out for 2 days.
Yeah.
Very good game. I am about 2.5 hours into it still. I'm at the same point I stopped on Halloween night. Because
Do you
yesterday
think you'll ever beat it?
Yeah, I'll beat Luigi.
I think I'm about the same place that Abby is, maybe a little bit behind. Well, when she was speaking last night, I think that you've probably spurred forward this morning.
I'm coming into this with negative opinions right now, though, because it introduced a fucking stupid-ass mechanic, and I've got, like, zero patience for backtracking, and it just made me backtrack through 2 floors.
You know what's funny?
Oh, dear.
You know what's funny is I was saving this for the episode because I read your message this morning, Abby, and I was gonna say on Thursday when I was playing it, I'm like, you know, if you two are really enjoying this, you'd probably really enjoy Resident Evil 1, because Luigi's Mansion is Nintendo Resident Evil in all of its best ways and all of its worst ways, and like the amount of backtracking and the amount of like keeping track on the map and the way the mansion, or in this case the hotel, is set up and everything about it, like the different type of keys. This is like Nintendo's Resident Evil, and I love it, but I know Resident Evil does some dumbass shit with backtracking. And so reading your message this morning, I'm like, oh, it is Resident Evil. It is Resident Evil.
Is it spoilers to ask what the mechanic is?
Not really.
Okay.
Basically, there's a ghost that steals one of it steals one of the elevator buttons from you. Just as you're about to put it in the thing, it steals it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it goes back onto that floor where you have to go through every single fucking room to try and find it.
That's like the shit with the rat. The fucking ate my button. After the one boss fight.
Yeah, it's like that, apart from it went down a floor as well.
Ugh.
Okay.
And then you have to, like...
Man, if only this hotel had stairs, you know?
Like...
I hated the rat one, so I'll hate this too, it sounds.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's not
mind
a rat
the rat
this
one.
time. It's like a rat, but it begins with a C. Cat.
Oh, cat. I was trying to think of just like every C word. I'm like, cook.
Car?
Chimp. Okay.
And I don't know, it just pissed me off because it feels like when stuff like that happens, it's hindering my progress, even though I'm still progressing the way that the game wants me to.
Oh, yeah, because, it is actually what the game needs you to do, but it feels like you're going backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
I get
And
that.
I was super not having any of it this morning. I was just like, no, fuck you, Luigi's Mansion, I'm done.
There are two things that I've been like, with. One is the weird, sometimes gyro, sometimes not, control and aiming of the poltergust. I suck at aiming the poltergust. Whenever I'm trying to aim a plunger or a thing that I've sucked up, I've got like a 10% chance of getting it right. And there's a boss that relies on that. I'm just like, no.
I don't know if it feels like it's inverted or it is inverted, but it feels
I
not
can't
right.
decide. When you were like, this game is inverted or not inverted, whichever one you don't like, and it won't let me change it. Oh wait, no, it's not. Every time it feels like that, and I'm like, I do prefer things to be inverted. I'm like, it's not inverted. I need to invert it. Nope, it's fine.
See, I get that where it's like, oh, it's inverted. It's really annoying me. I can't control things when it's inverted, and then suddenly it's not inverted anymore. I'm really confused.
So either the game is messing with us, or we every time we play this game, we have like a stroke that lasts 3 or 4 seconds, and then it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Maybe a ghost is in my controller or something.
And
I don't know.
the other thing is, and I don't know if it's because I'm playing with the Pro Controller, the boo hunting, I hate. I hate it. I've been trying to find one boo, the boostment, and he keeps like, aha, I'm the boostment. You're still in the dark. You can't find me. And then he goes somewhere else, and basically hunting for things via vibration, trying to find the strongest vibration. I feel like I found the strongest one, and I look in the thing, it's like, you're wrong. I don't like it.
Well, the boo hunting is optional as far as I know.
Yeah, and I think so long as I don't buy the tracker for it, it will only be telling me about that one boo. So yeah. I'm okay. But that lost me like 20 minutes.
Other than that, though, I do like the game. I know I'm saying, like, oh, it's making me backtrack, and I've just come out of Link's Awakening, which is, like, the backtrackiest of backtracking games ever. So I just didn't have a lot of patience for the backtracking thing, but I think it's an incredibly charming game that is quite fun. And I just want to give Luigi a hug.
There is only one boss that I've been like, it was the same one that you were, because it makes 0 sense.
There are some things in this where I'm like, how would I figure that out? Like, there's a bit where you find a bathtub, and it looks really innocuous, but you need to use the poltergust to turn the taps on the bathtub. Yeah. And I just thought it was fucking scenery. I didn't think it was like mechanically a thing.
Yeah, because sometimes you could just interact with the world. It's like, hey, that's neat. I managed to turn on a light switch by flipping the poltergust around. And then sometimes it's like, hey, that's actually where I'm supposed to do things.
But
so it does reward like experimentation with the world. It's just that sometimes it actually needs it, and that's a bit jank. There was one moment where, like, it's good environmental design because I said to myself, there is something missing from here. It looks like there should be a door, but there's not. I've got to do something to get the door. and I just completely forgot about an entire mechanic.
I feel
and so I was
like there are so many mechanics that I always forget the one that I need to know.
Yeah, because also in this room there were 2 windmills and the camera zoomed out. And I'm like, okay, it's zoomed out. That means that there must be something I'm doing on both floors to get this door. And it was like, no, you just need to use the dark light. I'm like, oh, okay.
If I'm not forgetting about the dark light, I'm forgetting about the plunger. If I'm not forgetting about those 2 things, I'm forgetting about Luigi. If I'm not forgetting about those 2 things, I'm forgetting the fact that I can control both Luigi and Luigi at the same time. Like,
sometimes I forget about the flashlight. That I need to not just point it at someone, I need to actually flash it.
Yeah. I do really like the game. I think it does sort of inundate you with all of the things at once. Like, I think the only thing that you don't get immediately is Luigi.
Yeah.
Because it just goes, right, use your strobe light, here's your dark light, you can jump using the poltergeist now, ain't that great?
Oh, it's funny, when I got the lab opened and I left the lab, he didn't tell me about the plunger shot, whatever it is, suction shot yet. And I hit a button and I shot it and I go, what the fuck was that? What is this?
It lets you do stuff before it teaches you about it. I'm like, what?
But like on a separate note, that would be great for replaying the game because you don't have to wait to have the plunger unlocked because you know to use it immediately or whatever. So there are benefits to it, but it feels very overwhelming when it's like, okay, every face button does something, all the shoulder buttons are doing something, so much so that the right stick is going to be the Luigi button.
Yeah. Again, it's like each floor is playable in a reasonable chunk. You can be like, hey, I solve a couple of puzzles, I fight a ghost, I'm done. And that's still pretty... It's the same with Outer Worlds. It's super satisfying and obviously works well on a console that you can be like, hey, I'm on a bus, I'm going to play a level of... Like, it's got that mobile gaming element.
Yeah.
Of pick up and play or keep playing. And
I'm enjoying the fact that the floors are not ridiculously long, so you feel like you're progressing by quite a bit most of the time. Mm-hmm. Apart from when you're tracking cats that have stolen your buttons and stuff.
Oh, cat! Oh. I was going to get there eventually.
Did you seriously not get it?
I think I said cat.
I'm joking. Bill's like, it's a cat.
I was like, damn, get her outside.
It's like crane, cockroach. Nah.
But it feels like I can sit down for an hour and go, right, I've done a floor and I've made a little bit of progress in the next one. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Let's take a break for a bit. So I'm not, like, my play sessions aren't several hours long or whatever. Mm. It's just like, I'll pick it up for an hour and I'll play some and I'll feel like I've progressed. It's just not this morning, apparently.
Yeah.
But,
and it obviously has collectibles for not backtracking, but like replayability.
I can't
and
find
that's fun
any
for like. I can find some of them. Like originally, I thought that the gems were spread. Like one set of gems was spread throughout the entire thing, and then I find out that they're floor specific, and I was like, oh no, I can't work out how to find any of these. But again, it encourages you to mess around with the environment, play with Luigi and all your gadgets, to try and like. The basement is still pissing me off. There's a switch for a gate. I flipped it. I found the electric cabinet. I've got Luigi. I can't do anything about it, but there's a gem in there. I can't get that gem out.
You just got to ignore it, man.
It's like, maybe the game will teach me something else later on. I'll come back later, but it hasn't done it. I don't think it ever will. I think I'm just crap.
What do you think, Bill?
I don't have much to say on it, being so early. Mechanically, like, I've done really nothing besides just get Luigi at the moment, which I think is quite funny. And there's one gem I don't understand how to get. There's water in the bathroom, and you can take Luigi to the other side of the bathroom.
I don't know either.
And I don't know.
Oh, I think I solved that one.
Well, how do you do
How?
it? Please tell me.
Assuming that it's the same one.
It's like the one with the toilet, right?
I mean, there are a fair few toilet puzzles.
I mean, a toilet that's leaking into a drain.
Yes. There's in the room that you can actually get into with Luigi, pay attention to the mirror.
Yeah, there's a grate apparently on the floor, but I don't actually
Oh,
understand
you
what's
put the
going
dark
on.
light on it.
Yeah.
What the
Shine
hell?
the dark light on the grate.
Oh,
before you
for
go
Christ's sake! For fuck's sake!
Because I spent a fair while being like, there's a grate there. But
Yeah.
there's not grate there. It's hidden. How do I do it? And then I accidentally hit the dark light. I was like, oh yeah, dark light. And then there's a puzzle to solve underneath.
Well, I'm gonna do that since we're done recording. Yeah, I think like visually, like it's really stupendous. Like I haven't played handheld mode yet, but I've just been playing on my monitor, and like the sound design and the visuals and the reflections and the lighting and like just the way the facial animations go, even during gameplay, is like really one of the best looking games on here. And like I am really satisfied just smashing shit with my vacuum and collecting money and hearing Luigi's reactions to everything. Like I did it, like just the dumbest shit. It's adorable.
Did you make him pet the dog?
I still can't pet the dog. Where is
can't pet the dog.
gone?
At the start of the game, you can pet him, and he goes, "Oh, doggy."
I'll have to watch that on YouTube.
I thought it was later on in the game.
I'm
I knew
resetting
it
my
was a thing
playthrough.
because I linked it to people.
I'm resetting my playthrough.
I'll just start a new game. I've got an alternate profile. I'll use that.
It's making me realize how much I love Luigi. Like
He's
I
the
didn't
best.
realize.
He's the best Mario brother.
I don't know about that. That's a controversial opinion.
I don't think it is that because Mario is. All right, I've just realized. Speaking to Bill as an American,
What up?
I am slowly messing up the pronunciation of Mario.
It's Mario.
So that it is both of them at the same time. My A's are turning into like Ario. Yeah, he doesn't have a personality. He's just there and he does stuff.
Yeah,
Whereas Luigi's like, I'm scared, but I care about my family and I want to save them.
Yeah, but he wore a hat in Odyssey, so.
The hat had more personality.
Mario dances in Mario Odyssey.
Well,
with his nipples
that's
out.
not really a personality.
Mario has nipples.
Yeah, so Luigi has nipples?
He has to, right?
I don't want to talk about.
Luigi has to have
I don't wanna
nipples.
talk about Luigi's nipples.
We know that
It'd be
Wario
really
has
weird if you
nipples from the Mario Olympic game. There's shirtless. There's shirtless people in that game. Everyone
That comes out real soon, by the way.
every male is shirtless in Mario Olympics. That means even Waluigi.
Yeah.
No.
What about Bowser?
He takes his shell off.
Oh, actually,
spoilers,
hold
Bill.
on. Hold on.
So, okay.
This is really, really important.
Is it about shirtless Luigi?
No, it's about the shell thing. I was playing Mario Kart Tour the other day, and I was playing a thing as Yoshi, and then I got an achievement thing for playing as a character with a shell.
I thought it was a saddle.
It's a shell.
Oh. I always thought it was a saddle.
I thought it was a saddle too, and I'm traumatized.
I'm sure that because people have been like, it's a shell, it's a saddle. I thought that there was like definitive proof in a manual or something that it was a saddle.
Well, definitive proof in Mario Kart Tour.
Is that it's a shell. Fair enough. Also, yeah, Luigi's Mansion has at least some achievements. I've only unlocked one, and I can't find a list of them. It's driving me insane.
Ew.
Those aren't there are no nipples.
See, there's like darkened spots on his...
Ah, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, fair enough.
I don't want this game.
I mean, it makes sense. You can't swim in the Olympics with your clothes on.
Get a wetsuit.
Except you're still going to wear a hat.
Do what Kiryu does. Apparently.
I play
Sorry.
a Yakuza Olympics game.
What were you saying? I just needed to get that off my chest because
Yeah,
it's been
that's fine.
freaking me out ever since.
You can suck up Toad when you save him and launch him, and he bounces all over the place and he cheers as he bounces. He's like, yay! He loves it. There you go, that's all I had to say.
I'm looking forward to playing more Luigi's Mansion now that I've gotten over the backtracking thing.
Why does Dr. Eggman have a like an ankle tracker? Is he a criminal? I guess.
Oh,
he is
that's
a criminal.
confetti.
Waluigi.
Oh,
Waluigi
Waluigi
looks
doesn't
like
have
he's
any
wearing
nipples.
a suit that's skin colored.
Yo, Waluigi straight up looks like he's a trainer in Pokemon. Let's go.
One of those people that can somehow stand up in the ocean.
Oh my god, man. Anyway, yeah, I my full thoughts on it. Like, I'm just enjoying it. I haven't played it very much though.
No.
Very
But
fun.
you gotta-
I definitely look forward to playing more.
I'm liking it.
It's one of those things that one of those games that will most likely be as long as it needs to be, but I will want there to be more.
Mm-hmm.
But if there were more, I'd be like, this game is going on for far too long. So I don't know if I want to finish it or if I want to let it last.
I want to finish it before Pokemon comes out.
Oh yeah, I have a schedule of things to beat. Yeah, I've got to beat it. Like, I've got to beat Zelda. I'm probably not gonna get very far in Zelda before I give up.
We're not talking about it. It's fine. It's
Oh,
not on
yeah.
the-
I think that with Bill realizing about strategy, like turn-based strategies, I don't think that I am suited for any game that can be classified as retro.
Self-discovery here, man.
That's a
I can't do it.
mood.
I can't play these games, and I feel bad because people are like, "Oh, it's a masterpiece," and I'm playing it, and I'm just like, there is zero logic as to where I'm supposed to be going. The game is making no sense. I'm dying instantly, and that's every retro game for me. Like any NES game, most SNES games, hell, even some N64 games. Like pre-GameCube, maybe N64. It's not worth me touching.
You beat Mario 64, that's the only important one, really.
It took me 60 hours.
That's like a star every half hour.
It must have taken me more than 60 hours, because it was like 100 episodes.
I enjoyed that playthrough very, very much.
Let's see, someone did.
You didn't, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it sucks. I don't think that I can play old games.
It's fine.
Is
We
it
all
though?
have our weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a lot of them.
You've just accepted that flaw, that's all.
Yeah.
You get a perk point, Kinross.
I wish I got a perk point. Make me better at... I'll use that sucking at retro games to have a perk point into not sucking at retro games. Balance them out. But no, I'll probably keep playing through it until I'm feeling that I'm wasting my rental.
Well, you have a copy of it here, so...
Oh yeah, I do. Thank you.
So we did it, huh?
We
We
did
did
an
it.
episode for the first time in forever.
5 months.
Yeah.
The next episode's likely to be like goatee stuff.
Hell yeah,
well-
maybe.
We have not a lot coming out in the last couple months. Like, Pokemon comes out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon, Star Wars,
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
shit. When does that come out? Shit.
November 14th or something?
Star
13th?
Wars. Shit.
It's coming out on Steam now, because
Hell
Origin's
yeah.
sort of going away.
And you can play it on EA Access. You don't have to pay full price.
Yeah.
Welcome to the new age.
But also, on the 13th of December, it's the actual Game Awards.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, shit.
We're coming
Final
up on that
Smash Bro announcement.
Shit.
for this pack.
I love the Game Awards.
I never actually watched them. I just
Yeah, you're
Read
asleep.
you-
Me and Bill are spamming
Yeah,
your
I-
Discord.
It's fun.
so
I
you
read
can't
I
in the
read
morning.
you watching it and being like, oh cool, Joker.
That announcement blew my mind, legitimately. I'm looking forward to
That
it.
was amazing.
Yeah.
Best announcement of that.
That was a really great Smash reveal.
It's crazy to think that was a year ago.
Yeah.
And only a year ago. It
Yep.
feels like forever.
Hades will be on Steam next month. For anybody listening who hates Epic, they can play Hades on Steam. December 10th, I think it is. I'm contemplating
Bee Simulator
rebuying
comes
it on
out in
Steam,
a couple
to
of
be honest with you.
weeks.
What was that?
Bee Simulator comes out in a couple of weeks.
Bee Simulator?
Yeah.
Is that real?
I thought you knew about
Yeah.
all the games, Bill.
What the fuck?
It's Bee Simulator.
Bee
It looks like an actual game as well.
Simulator.
Just not necessarily one that I'd want to play.
Bee Simulator.
yeah.
I'm buying
It's like
this.
35 quid.
The graphics are beautiful.
Bill, you don't have to buy all of the games, Bill.
It
It's
has
like a $50
it has
game.
co-op and PvP.
What?
This game looks beautiful.
I didn't.
How do you PvP?
Wow,
with
look at
these?
this game.
Stabbing.
Yeah, but
I'm
you
actually
die.
not sure if Bill is lying or not.
What the fuck, bro? I'm enlightened.
Yeah, I feel like there's another game that I'm missing that is just going to sneak up on me, but
This one has.
generally the year is over now. Yeah.
Bee Simulator. Wait, this says end
Yeah.
of 2020.
It's
Yeah.
coming out next.
Wait.
Oh, is it Epic Game Store exclusive?
Oh, probably.
Oh, possibly. Because it's on consoles as well. 'Cause I saw it on Switch.
Yeah, it is Epic
Bee
Games.
Simulator.
So next, okay, so yeah, no, next year.
Yeah, it comes out on the 14th of November.
So we'll do an episode on the 16th of November to talk about Bee Simulator and Pokemon, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm getting Bee Simulator.
I don't know if you're being real or not.
I'm buying this game.
Being real.
I'm buying this game.
Can you imagine
Honestly,
if Bee Simulator ended up being your game of the year, though?
I'm buying this game.
that's why I've added some random crap to my my rental list. I'm like, what if Buildings Have Feelings too is GOTY?
I also really
I
want
can't not know that.
I really want to get to Goose Game at some point.
Oh crap! I need to play more Goose Game.
Because like that
I
game
played
was
Goose
blown
Game.
up in a way I didn't expect. Like SportsCenter made a Goose
Really?
Game meme for the World Series victory for the Major League Baseball, and I'm like, wow,
Okay.
Goose Game has
it blew
penetrated.
up about as much as I expected it to. It's a meme game where you're
Yeah.
playing as a goose.
It has penetrated
being
the
an ass.
mainstream in a way I didn't expect any game to do. So congratulations to Untitled Goose Game. I really want to play it. Looks interesting. Looks goofy as
yeah.
hell.
It's a nice puzzle game.
Yeah. And it's only
Where
like
you're a
a
goose.
few hours long apparently. So
Yeah.
depending, I guess, how
Depending
good
on
I
what
am at
happens.
it, maybe I'll suck. But yeah, lots to look forward to for in terms of like events. So, Game Awards coming up, Game of the Year stuff's coming up, Pokemon's coming out. I'm gonna buy Death Stranding still.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna play
Oh.
it. I just can't help myself. My morbid curiosity of this truck simulator,
I-
as Norman.
I
I
will
knows.
want to
probably
remind
end
you that at the beginning of the year we made goals for ourselves, and I said I wanted to spend smarter, and you went, "Yeah, that's a really good one."
It is a good one. I have.
It's
I
a
have
good one.
done it this
He
year.
did. I don't recall him actually taking that one. He just said it's a good idea.
We'll have to watch the footage back to see if he said, "Yeah, I'm going to do that too."
But I have done better at it since August anyway. I haven't really bought too
It's
many
impressive
games
because no games came out before August.
yeah, I haven't. Since WoW Classic came out, I put a lot more time into the service games, and then Destiny happened. So
Yeah, I guess.
the last game I bought was Luigi.
Luigi's
Luigi's Mansion.
And then I've just kind of been playing.
And the one before that was probably Judgment or
Yeah, and I
Control.
bought Judgment back in June.
Oh, okay. Well, you bought Control then.
Yeah, Control I bought. Outer Worlds I'm on Game Pass. Call of Duty I bought. Fucking
yeah.
shitty game. Anyway, this has been the Permadeath podcast. Thank you for
46.
listening, everybody, to episode 52 of the Permadeath podcast. You can let us know what you think now that we're in our 50s on our Twitter at PermaPodcast. Leave us a tweet. What are your favorite
I
moments?
did look this up, and now I cannot trust.
What are your favorite
that-
moments from the first 50 years of the Permadeath podcast?
Oh wait,
Feels like 50 years.
what episode is it actually?
46.
So, 46 anniversary. What's our anniversary today?
Oh yeah.
Oh. What? Traditional gift.
Is it cake? Is it Toblerone? Because I've got that.
Oh.
Ooh.
The modern anniversary gift idea is original poetry tributes.
All right.
Roses are red.
Leave us
Violets
some
are blue.
poems in the comments.
This was the Permadeath podcast,
down
and
below.
we like you.
Send me some poems. Maybe we'll read them on the next episode. The
give
best
him my
poem. The best poem gets one of my humble monthly scraps.
Scraps. What a way to sell it. I don't want this
Oh my
game.
God.
You have it.
There's a game I got from Humble Monthly called Kind Words. I wanted to bring this game up really quick. I totally slipped my mind, and it's not a scrap. I feel bad referring to the games that, like, the weird indie games that, like, nobody knows about as the scraps. Like, here, just take this code for, like Angel Cooks or something. I don't know.
Lo-fi chill beats to write to. 10 out of 10 on Steam.
This game is really interesting in that it connects to a server, and you receive advice requests and just words of encouragement requests from random people, anonymous people. And they all get posted to a message board, like a thing, and you can choose to respond to those. And when you do, you'll get like points or like stickers and stuff like that, and rewards. And you can play the game and choose just to respond to people, or you could play the game and put a request out there and request letters from people. Maybe you're going through something or whatever, and or it might not even be anything serious. You just have a job interview or something, and you maybe use the anonymous.
It's like an agony aunt type game. Then.
Little boost, and
What's
it
this
is
called?
Kind Words.
Kind Words, lo-fi chill beats to write to, £3.99 on Steam, or you can get the soundtrack for £2.09.
It is something that I actually think is very, very powerful. I responded to some letters. You'll never know what they think of your response. But I think that's part of the charm of it is that, this person might read this. They might read this and think, wow, that sucks. And I found myself putting a lot of effort into the stuff I was saying to people. You have a limit how long you could write it.
The post is delivered by a deer.
Yeah. The art's really charming. Yeah. But even the responses I got for the thing I put out there were really wow. As much as I can get a lot of support from friends. It was really interesting reading this person who has no connection to me whatsoever. Put the effort into writing these 2 paragraphs, and it was like, wow, this really neat game for maybe people who don't have someone to reach out to in ways that helps them not have to try to maybe feel like they're a nuisance to somebody or whatever. They can go on here and get a pat in the back, and it's really neat idea. And I got it for free through monthly. It was a DRM free thing I got through whatever it was on Humble. Yeah. And I saw someone talk about it on Reset Era, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I have that, I think. Let me check it out. And it's really cool.
Well, I'm installing it right now.
I recommend
in a similar thing, I found an app that's trying to revive the pen pal era. Basically, you send messages through the app, and rather than it being like an instant message, it gets sent instantly. It takes as long as post would take to get there.
Interesting.
So, if I had you as a pen pal, for instance, it would take 12 hours for my message to get to you. You reply to it. It takes 12 hours to get back to me. And I was like, that's really cool. I'll do it for a bit.
How'd
and then no one replied to any of my messages. So I gave up.
Lost in the post.
It's exactly like my pen pal times.
Yeah, true.
As part of the Boy Scouts, you've got to have a pen pal. I'm like, okay. I've sent out 10 letters. None have come back.
I would have been your pen pal.
Yeah.
We don't need to do that, though, because I talk to you on a daily basis. But I would have been your pen pal before the days of MSN and...
Just very fast post.
Yeah.
Instant post.
I should actually boot Kind Words back up later. And
I kind of want to buy it.
See if I've got anything.
Let's all write a letter and see if we get each other's.
It's a really neat idea. And
yeah.
And according to the Steam post, there's been 250,000 letters that have been sent through it. So that was just a month ago. Game's been out since September.
It needs 4 gig of RAM.
Wow, the reviews are overwhelmingly positive. I mean, there's nothing really bad you can say about this game. In what it's trying to accomplish for people. I think it's really great. Check that out, listeners. It's cool. It's cheap.
Yep.
So yeah.
Thanks for the recommendation, Bill.
Absolutely. I'm glad I remembered that. I'm glad we're talking about my scraps on Humble Monthly here. I totally forgot about it. You can follow me on Twitter at PepperedHam. Where you all at? I know this is like the fucking... Nobody wants to keep saying the Twitter handles, but, you know...
At BazarJelly5.
I ain't doing it.
My Twitter is not... KidRoss07.
My Twitter has not been used or a positive place lately. I do not want it.
You can find all our links to our Twitters and socials in the description down below.
Yeah, they're already
on YouTube. You can go and see the amazing Yakuza prints that Bill sent me.
They're quite nice. Yeah. I'm glad you like them.
Yeah, they are very... I'm
glad
they made it there.
An alternative was found.
I'm glad they made it there. Fucking conventions. Okay, I got an open request to all you artists out there. Where's all the Fire Emblem arts? You son of a bitch.
Please.
I'll end this.
Honest to God, Bill spent the entire first day trying to find Fire Emblem artists.
I walked to that artist alley.
What do I do?
So many goddamn times, like, shit.
I feel really bad now.
Shit, I was so surprised that there was no not Three Emblems stuff, Three Houses stuff, because it's like that game was the game when it came out. Like fan art and like the people's attachment rate to the houses and their leaders, and I'm like,
But they just weren't printing it.
It's going to be Fire Emblem Three Houses prime time at this Anime Con, because when Persona 5 came out, it was Persona 5 prime time. Like people like drawing certain characters, and I thought for sure Three Houses stock was up for fan art, but I guess I was fucking wrong.
I mean, there's a lot of fan art.
Didn't
They just
call
didn't
that
print it for some reason. But
there's still so much Persona at these artist alleys. Still so much Persona. I've bought all the Persona. Stop bringing it.
They keep bringing it because you bought it all.
Print, so thank you.
But yeah, Yakuza stuff's rare to find at these artist alleys. It's been getting increasingly more common, but it's still rare to find them, especially ones like that good. You get some dumpy looking Kiryus out there. So I don't mean to insult people, but you'll get some dumpy looking Kiryus out there.
Your artwork's dumpy.
Well, people go, Bill's an asshole. All right, this has been the Permadeath Podcast, episode 46. See you in your Prince of History.
And what you said. Bye.
A psycho serial killer